We're starting off with Olympians racing for Fearless Femme Racing. She is an Olympian from Chile and a Pan Am champion. It's Paula Munoz.
Up next, we've got another Olympian and Pan American champion, a former national champion of her home country of Mexico. Welcome, Yareli Salazar.
Yareli Salazar, come on up. There she is, in 8th position this year for Fearless Femme Racing. Out of New Zealand, she's an Olympic silver medalist. She's represented she's gone to the Commonwealth Games and won gold. She's a junior world champion. It's Bryony Botha.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's spot number 7, coming from Canada. She rides for the Automatic Racing Team. She is a 2-time Winter Olympic gold medalist in speed skating. Please welcome right here to Easton, Avani Blondin.
In 6th position, she is the Cuban national champion and a prolific winner across the country. Fourth here last year and a Somerville defending champion representing Virginia Blue Ridge. It's Marleyes Garcia.
All the way from Australia, riding for the Higher Dose Renova team. She's a member of the Australian national team, and she was your bronze medalist here last year. Welcome back, Odette Lynch.
Racing for the Legion of Los Angeles, she is the U23 Caribbean champion and the 2 times U23 Dominican Republic champion. It's Melcy Perez.
In spot number 3, your reigning National Criterium champion all the way out of New Zealand, 18 years young. Please welcome Kira Merritt.
Racing for 1K flips, she is a 2-time Dominican national champion. She got 3rd at the GFNY last weekend and she podiumed at Speed Week. It's Flor Esperanto.
Our final call up to spot number 1 on the grid. She is the defending champion here. She's your Pan American champion, the Mexican national champion on the track, riding for Virginia Blue Ridge. Welcome back, Sofia Arreola.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you a Navy veteran singing for us here today, here at the Easton Criterium. My good friend, Mr. Herman Harris, ladies and gentlemen, will be singing God Bless America to start off our women's professional race.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, wide with full U.S. America, our home, sweet home.
Herman Harris, ladies and gentlemen. Riders, these are your race instructions.
All right, attention riders, you are racing for 75 minutes out here today. Free lap ends at 5 laps to go. The pit is behind you on the left-hand side. You may cut the course, you may ride to the course, you may run to the course. Do not ride backwards to get to that pit. Our officials will be pulling riders out of contention. If they need to, that will happen back at the pit as well. That should be all you need to know out here. And we are just moments away from getting this thing underway here today.
Easton, are you ready to send off our professional women's race here tonight? I need to hear it from you banging on those boards and making some noise. Women go on the sound of the whistle. Let's go, Easton! There we go, our women now on course.
All right, our pro women off and running. 75 minutes of racing right here on the streets of Easton. We've got our defending champion back in the house to try and go 2 for 2. We'll see if Virginia's Blue Ridge, Sophia Areola can get it done. There's a whole host of riders that we called up and some that were farther back in the grid that have their eye on a little bit of glory right here on Northampton Street as well.
This race is being live streamed on YouTube. You guys can follow along on the big screen up at Center Square. But check this out, we've got some multiple cameras and we even got some drone shots out here. So we're gonna do our very best to bring all the action to you. Looks like our women are on Larry Holmes Drive right now as they drive the pace and resituate themselves from our call-up grid.
Well, I'll tell you, I can already see some gaps starting to form a little farther back on Larry Holmes Drive. Riders that are a little bit behind coming out of that turn onto Sitgraves already having a tough time staying up on top of things. They're going to be making their way here into the final turn for the first time today. Here comes your leading pace car by the Brown Daub family of dealerships, leading them on through after lap number 1. This is your professional women, Easton. Fearless Femme presented by the Pierce Beasley Law Firm Group on the front. Everybody all together, nobody feeling like they're getting too deep into it just yet. We're about 1:50 for lap number 1. They've got a long way to go. We've got a lot of preams to ring for this group as well, so we're going to try and keep this action hot all day long. We've got a number of pro women out there. Looking at my list, 60 women towing the line here for our professional 1-2 women's race. Again, you can tune into YouTube and see the entire race live streamed all the way around the course. So you get a great view of every aspect. 6 turns around our 0.7-mile course. They're now down on Larry Holmes Drive, one of the longer, straighter sections of the course, and certainly one of the flatter sections of the course. You see they make that final turn. It's a little bit of a grade all the way up Northampton Street into the circle here, where they're going to bear left on 3rd Street, a quick left again on Ferry, and then that right turn into the infamous Sitgrave Street spot right by our friends at Seta Luna.
Oh, we love the Seta Luna corner. And Vault Brewing, by the way, right there as well. Delicious beers, courtesy of Riz Contracting here today. We got the Brown Daub Jeep lead car coming up Northampton Street here. Looks like our field is all together still after just 2 laps of racing. A little reshuffling though as riders try to readjust their positioning from sort of mid-pack up to the front as the washing machine effect is in full force here. Malays Mejias and Ivani up at the front at this moment in time.
Well, as we mentioned, we've got lots of preams to ring the bell for our professional women's field, so why not get started bright and early out here to get the action happening. My man Gabe, he's got the bell in hand. We've got $50 cash, courtesy of our friends at Brown Daub, that we're going to see who wants to get a little piece of that as we watch our Brown Daub family of dealerships Jeep rolling on through right now. All right, here comes your women's field. They are spread out across the road. Let's light this thing up, Easton. Preem, we've got a preem on the next lap. $50 preem. $50 preem to the winner of the lap, courtesy of the Brown Daub family of dealerships. And I spy the automatic rider, Avani Blondin, going up the right-hand side in that bright orange kit. Avani, a two-time Olympic gold medalist, most recently at just this past Winter Olympics. She picked up both a gold and a silver in the speed skating in the team pursuit event. And I'll tell you what, if you have the chance to talk to Avani after the race while she's floating around enjoying herself, maybe ask her about those Olympic medals, because she often carries them around with her because she knows it's such a cool thing to be able to show off to some fans. So she may have those gold medals in her pockets and give you the opportunity to check them out.
So she's on that run right now, driving the pace through turn number 5 down there in Sitgreaves Corner. And they're driving along Larry Holmes Drive, really driving that pace early on. Bill, where does the sprint actually start here in Easton? Because you got this long straightaway along the water, then we turn left onto Northampton where the incline actually really kicks up.
Well, you're going to start to see that battle here just as they're bearing left by that Larry Holmes statue on Larry Holmes Drive, about 50 meters before the turn. You want to be in the top 5 wheels coming out of that turn onto Northampton Street if you've got any opportunity. It's about a 250-meter drag race, but it is all uphill as who's going to get the first $50 on the day, courtesy of Brown Daub family of dealerships.
Big lift here by Odette Lynch to come up and around, and she will go ahead and take that $50. Odette on the podium here last year. She was very strong sprinter. She's part of the Australian national team at home, spending a lot of time on track, and now translating that back to another summer here in America, racing the Criterium scene. And look at the speed and depth in which she's pulled out here. Odette on the front. We now have a group of 6, let's call that 2, 4, and 5 that have separated themselves from the front of the field. What do you think the dynamic is here, Bill? Do you think the teams are going to be happy with this, or sort of see what the break does with itself, or are they going to be proactive here and try to shut it down?
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity on the heels of that preem sprint. And I think what's going to happen is once this breakaway kind of organizes for a brief moment, they're going to look around, they're going to see who from each team is in that breakaway. Obviously, if a team is missing from that breakaway, they're going to go to the front and try and chase it down. But I think you've got to really take stock of who's up there. Nobody wants to take a really fast sprinter to the line, so they want to make sure it's mostly workhorses. And it looks like the Renovo squad, the higher dose Renovo squad, have 2 riders in there, and so that's definitely a situation you're going to want to be careful of.
Legion of Los Angeles now countering that acceleration. So the small little group of 5 was caught on Larry Holmes, and Legion counters it immediately with, I believe, Skylar, but let's check that out as we get up here, or it could be Sam. Skylar counters that immediately, and Margie Bemis, former winner here in Easton, follows that move immediately. So Skylar Schneider, one of our sport's best female criterium racers of all time, gracing us with her presence here today. She's also a Pan Am road champion, so a lot of great talent there with Skylar, and a very astute counter move, right? So we saw those women, that group of 5, caught on Larry Holmes. Immediately Skylar responded, countered it across the road, created the gap, but she was quickly marked because she is such a prolific rider.
Yeah, very prolific rider. She's here with one teammate who happens to be her sister, Samantha Schneider, who's also a very accomplished rider as well. And I think a smart move by Skylar up there. She's actually got 2 teammates, pardon me, back there in the field. But Legion not initially part of those 5 riders that slipped away. So I think initially that was just Skylar kind of covering that move and seeing if it was going to get any traction. I don't anticipate that she's really going to stay on the gas and try and cause any real separation of note, in part because it's still very early. We're only 10 minutes in to a 75-minute race, so a lot of time for a lot of things to happen, but it looks like we've got one of our Renovo higher dose riders now off the front again, and guess what? Let's ring the bell for another preem. We've got $75 preem on the next lap, preem on the next lap. $75 courtesy of Lehigh Valley Health Network to the winner of the lap. And that was Dr. Andrea Sear making a move off the front. So Andrea Sear out of Carmel, Indiana. She's a practicing physician out there in Indianapolis. She's one of the mainstays behind that higher dose Renova team, and she is now making a bid to go off of the front right now. So we'll see how well that works out for Dr. Sear. She's had a pretty good spring so far. We've seen her squad at a lot of the USA Criterium events all around the Southeast, and she's had a number of podium appearances. She's not gotten a real big win yet to put on the resume, so maybe Easton will give her the opportunity to get on the top step of the boxes. We should be seeing our pace car making their way around at that final turn in a moment, so we'll see if Andrea Sear was able to maintain that gap. It looked promising, but $75 going to motivate a lot of people.
So I was chatting with Andrea last night, and she was saying that they want to be very aggressive in this race tonight, and she actually specifically wants to take this win. She's raced here before. You know, how races evolve over time. So she was here in the early iteration. We're now 6 years old, and we've really elevated a bit, and so she'd love to put a feather in her cap here. $75 from LVHN on the line, and it looks like Higher Dose wants to get it. It's going to be Stephanie Lawrence, your collegiate national champion, taking that $75 from LVHN.
So Stephanie Lawrence, one of the most decorated collegiate athletes of all time in the sport of bike racing, second only to a former winner here, Corin Lebecki, who won this race just short of her retirement from the sport of bike racing. But Stephanie Lawrence has had a wonderful career in the world of collegiate bike racing and has herself as the second most decorated athlete in collegiate bike racing. And I'll tell you what, she is very good in these professional races as well. She's been very active. She's generally a bit of a support rider on that squad, trying to help Andrea and some of the others on that squad, like Margie Bemis and so on. So we'll see if Stephanie is going to have the opportunity to play for the win tonight. Those preams, they're a good chance to test out your sprint sometimes out there on the course. Not everybody goes for those preams full gas, but there's always a few people that want to make a bid for that money, so it always makes for a good way just to kind of test the legs, see how they feel, and maybe find a landmark from where you want to try and launch that sprint from. So Stephanie Lawrence getting herself in the mix, but right now, Kim Stoveld from the Automatic Racing Squad doing what she does, the heels of the counterattack here. So Automatic Racing now getting in the mix with a former Pennsylvania State champion, Kim Stoveld, and she's about to have a little company, Gabe.
Kim Stoveld and Andrea Sear now joining forces. This is a very strong move. Stoveld had a little bit of trouble here last season, but not this season, and look at that, Fearless Femme responding to this immediately. Sear and Stoveld joining forces at the front of the race. They've got some daylight between them. They're going through turn 3, and they currently have, let's call it out, 3 seconds. 3 seconds is like, it's the beginning of something.
Yeah, right? Well, that's exactly it, right? It's a small gap, but look, the breakaway has to start somewhere, as they're now going to dive into that left-hander from Sitgraves on to Larry Holmes Drive. And, you know, you said on that chase we had, it looked like we had a couple riders from the Caldera Medical Squad as well. Laurel Rathburn, one of the leaders of that new squad here in 2026. And Laurel riding some good form after picking up the first big Criterium win of the year back in Anniston, Alabama in late April. So we'll see if her squad can get in on the action. But it's going to be very key right now. I think 2 riders, not really the numbers that you're looking for for the winning breakaway, and you can see the field pretty hot on their heels. They're going to need representation from a couple of the bigger teams like Fearless Femme and Virginia's Blue Ridge if they're going to have any opportunity for success.
Yep, that's exactly right. With the teams that are represented here today, you're going to need to have the right mix. Laurel makes that contact with the bunch, and we're now regrouping here. We got a nice sort of group at the front. Maleas Mejias has made it. Chloe Patrick also in the mix up there alongside Stephanie Lawrence, two women that are part of our current U.S. national team prep for LA 28.
Yeah, we had 3 of the higher dose riders in that group, so I think the rest of that breakaway going to look around just a little bit, and I don't think they're going to want to make this move stick too much. You know, just because you get that gap and you've got a breakaway, you've got that separation, doesn't always mean that is the right move to try and force that break. You've got to take stock of the other teams that are there, the other riders from certain teams that are there, and you've got to make a very smart decision in the moment if it is worth trying to stay on the gas, trying to make that work. And look, we had about 7 or 8 riders in that group, but 3 of them coming from one single team. So I think the rest of the riders in that group, it wouldn't be necessarily the smartest move to try and push that gap through.
All right, a little reshuffle in here as the women are taking an inventory of each other. This has been a nice aggressive race so far. We've seen already within just 16 minutes of racing, we've seen 3 different splits occur. Some of them have been a little bit larger than others, but definitely aggressive tactics are taking place here. Nice to see that it's also through a number of different teams taking the onus on the responsibility of pushing that pace. Clearly, Higher Dose is very motivated, though, as they've had a number of riders really push that pace between Odette, Stephanie Lawrence, and Andrea Sear to really push out right now. But they've got a full squad here today, so they definitely have strength in numbers here in our pro women's field.
Well, and I think, you know, the conversation you mentioned that you had with Andrea yesterday, being aggressive on this course, it's really kind of the way to go. It's a technical course. It actually favors a breakaway by and large on this course, so it does pay to be aggressive. The question is, what's the timing of being aggressive, right? Like, you don't really need to get on the gas from the start of this race. It's always best to maybe lay back a little bit, sit in about maybe 20th position, 25th position, kind of let those folks early on in the race be aggressive, make those moves, use up some precious energy, because you always have to remember early in the race, everybody is feeling pretty good. Everybody's done a warm-up. Everybody's fitness is on a similar plane. So for that first 20 minutes of the race, everybody is going to feel relatively good. So that's going to minimize the chance for breakaways to get up the road. So I think the smarter players are going to wait for maybe another 5-10 minutes, then they're going to start to get aggressive as we watch the automatic squad. That's Faradell Morris out of Charles City, Virginia, going to work on the front, trying to stretch things out a little bit. And, you know, we're talking a lot about that Renovo Higher Dose team, but the automatic squad, you know, they've kind of been a fairly dominant force the last few years, and they've got a lot of cards to play. We saw Kim Stoveld riding aggressive early. You know, it's no secret that she's a breakaway rider. That's her move, getting up the road. But they've also got riders like Ariel Verhaeren, a former World Cup level BMX rider, and Avani Blondin, both very fast sprinters. So they kind of have all their bases covered out there.
Yeah, there's just a lot of opportunities to play different strategies, and depending on how this race actually plays out. Nice to see very single file racing as they're coming through turn number 5 from Sitgreaves onto Larry Holmes right now on that back straight. We've got a lot of support here though in Easton for this race. We've actually just been handed some more cash preams. We're actually going to go over to this pream right here on the next lap, and it's going to be a $100 pream from RMG Insurance right here in Easton. Big thanks to them for coming out and supporting our Easton Crit here today. So $100 will be announced next time around for the women, and that will be very motivating for all of them to really lift that pace.
All right, hey, if you're on the outside of the fencing, don't be afraid to bang on these boards. Make a whole lot of noise. We are going to do another pream on the next lap. $100 pream, $100 pream to the winner of the next lap, courtesy of our friends at RMG Insurance. $100 pream from RMG Insurance to the winner of the next lap.
And just really backing out here real quick for those of us here who have not seen a criterium before, a pream is an intermediate sprint where a cash prize is awarded to the first rider across the finish line on the next lap. That has no impact upon their final scoring in the race. So no matter where they finish at the end of the race, this pream will have no impact upon that final placement. The reason we throw these preams into the mix is to force a sprint. Sprinting is very hard in bike racing. It disrupts the flow, but also just like when you're running around and doing a sprint in other activities, it lifts the heart rate and it creates an anaerobic moment for you that can be hard to recover from. So we're affecting the bike race here through a little bit of cash as much as we can here, because we can't take a pedal stroke in this race anymore because Bill and I have not been training at all.
We're looking at our pace car making their way on up. The big question now is who's feeling spry? Who's feeling like they've got the legs for a $100 pream? Elena Svenstrup, the youngster from the AP Development Squad out of New England, leading the charge up the home straight. Elena, a pretty competent young rider. Let's see if she can grab $100. Here comes Fearless Femme to spoil that party just a little bit in the nick of time there. That is going to be Kira Will going to pick up that $100 from RMG Insurance.
Nicely done there by Kira to sort of just stay in a seated sprint to lift the tempo there just over the crosswalk off of North 2nd Street there. Now they've drawn out this little group here, and that is going to be another instance of an opportunity for this race to sort of create a separation.
Watching our riders make their way onto Larry Holmes Drive, and it looks like we've got two riders. We've got Fearless Femme, we've got that Renovo higher dose team and making a move. And again, for as many times as we offer these preams, one of the byproducts of the preams is you've always got those first 4 or 5 riders sprinting hard for the pream, but then you've got the rest of the field just behind, and they're going to keep that momentum rolling. The sprinters, they're a little tired from that effort, but those riders that are 4th, 5th, 7th wheel, they're going to come right on through, keep that pace up, and that becomes a natural opportunity to create a breakaway. And that's what we're seeing right now, as we're going to be looking at a couple of riders just a little bit clear of the rest of the group as they're now coming through. Looks like they've already been reeled in there down on Larry Holmes Drive, but they are single file at the front. Renovo higher dose again, sticking to that aggressive game plan, Gabe.
Very aggressive. Nice to see them sticking to that plan and really driving it. Skylar Schneider driving that pace at the front, taking a look over the shoulder to see who's there, and it's going to be higher dose for Nova right in tow. But she knows that she's driving this pace. She knows that she's putting the hurt on at the back of that field and stretching that elastic.
You know, it's kind of funny. These riders, they all race each other almost every week all season long from about March through September. So you get to know the riders. You get to know what they're doing. You get to see little tells in their body language for when riders are about to attack. We saw Skylar Schneider coming through. Not a big injection of pace, but going to the front. And she's a rider that only goes to the front when there's a reason. You could see her do just a little shift back on her saddle to get in that power position. That's one of those moves from Skylar. When you see her do that, you know she's about to get on the gas out there.
We got a little tradition here in Easton where I run around with a bucket full of money, and we've had a few people ask about it. So I'm going to go get some money. Bill, you better help me out.
Go find me some cash, baby. We love to source these crowd preams. We love that so many people come down to enjoy the race, and this is going to be another opportunity for you folks on the outside of the fence to get involved with our bike race here for our pro women. So my man Gabe, he is about to come through the fence. He's got his empty pretzel jar there. He doesn't want to refill it with pretzels. He wants to refill that baby with cold, hard cash.
Let's hear for our ladies as they come through right now, though. Driving that pace is Kim Stovall on the front with Andrea Sear right in tow with Skylar Schneider. And there was Sophia Ariola, last year's winner, in 4th position. Great to see this pace really lifting here in Easton. Now, all right, here we go. We're clear, and I'm going to come into the street here. Who's got some cold, hard cash for our riders? We're going to do a crowd preem. There we go. Coming down to some VIP with our starting $10 courtesy of our VIP tent.
Oh, look at that little one using her allowance to put in the bucket. I love it. That's a great contribution, my friend. Don't be shy. We've got our man Gabe risking life and limb out there on the race course with his bucket. Dump a little cash in there. All these proceeds are going to go right back into the riders' pockets, courtesy of some crowd preams for both our professional women and our professional men later on this evening. Gabe making his way up to the circle. We want to make sure everyone's got the opportunity to give some cash. If you're up there in center square, here comes my man Gabe. Throw some money in the coffers there. He's not going to use that to pay his own mortgage. He's going to kick that back to the riders here in the form of some crowd preams. In the meantime, here comes our lead car. The field strung out. We can see some splits in the field a little farther back. That means the gas is full throttle on the front. Once again, we've got Schneider, Skylar Schneider on the front taking a look back. She's got your defending champion wearing bib number 1, Sophia Ariola, there as well. Andrea Sear in the mix. And you can see a long line of riders almost every single lap. 1 or 2 riders starting to fall off the pace just a little bit. And we're only 26.5 minutes in. We're racing for another 45 minutes out here yet. This race is going to be 75 minutes in length. So lots of opportunity for things to unfold. Lots of opportunity for y'all to fill up Gabe's bucket. He's standing right in the middle of Northampton Street by the square. Give him some money. Don't make that poor guy hang out there. All going back into the pocket of our athletes out here. We'll be doing crowd preams for both our men later on, and of course our women are right here. We want to get that bucket filled up. Last year we had so much money. We were giving away probably $500 crowd preams. We would love the opportunity to do the same thing again this year. So play your part here for the 6th annual Easton Criterium. Dump a little cash into that bucket. We can assure you it is going to go to a good home. Looks like we got another rider off the front. That looks like the orange of the automatic squad making her way up the home straight. Normally we're looking for Kim Stovall to be on that move. We'll see if that's indeed Stovall making her way. That actually looks like it might be Faradale Morris. Faradale Morris now on the move, but she is being chased by that higher dose of Renovo squad. That's Margie Bemis out of Indianapolis going to work for the higher dose Renova squad, trying to keep things in check. So I think my guess is they're going to be looking to set up Stephanie Lawrence or Andrea Sear for something a little bit later in the day. So that means that Marjorie Bemis gets the draw for doing a lot of the work. But bike racing at this professional level is very much a team sport. It's an all for one, one for all attitude out there. They make the prize money. It doesn't matter if you didn't do well, but your teammate won. If you did a little bit of work out there, everybody gets an even split of the cash, because it takes a team, it takes a village to win these bike races. Very few riders have the ability to win it on their own without any team support. Gabe, how you doing out there?
I am doing amazingly well. My preem bucket is half full. because we're optimistic about all things here in Easton. There we go. Preem money, preem money. Who's got some preem money for me? There we go. I got a few $100 so far. Let's keep it going. I'll be back.
All right, we are still single file right now. It is still the automatic squad. That is the unmistakable figure of Kim Stoveld using Faradale Morris to try and set the stage a little bit. That's another team tactic. One rider from the front making the race just a little bit hard to put some riders in the hurt locker a bit, and then another rider from that same team will continue the offensive there, trying to snap that elastic. So Stoveld trying to take advantage of her teammates' hard work the lap before to see if she can't get a successful breakaway going out there. Come on, y'all. I know you have money. I live in Easton. I know you guys are keeping some cash in the wallet there. Make sure you give it up to my man Gabe. Dig deep in there. You don't need that money. The landlord won't care if you're a week late on rent. I don't know, Gabe. There's a lot of dead air in that bucket yet, man. We need some more cash in that thing. The more cash, the better. It's all going back to the riders. Our pro women are going to get treated to a crowd preem, and it's all going to be courtesy of your donations out there.
Cutter's Bike Shop making a donation to the preem bucket. Big thanks to Cutters over in Bethlehem. Go see them if you need a mountain bike.
Well, it looks like things still all together on the front of the field. You can see how they're spread out a little bit across the road. That's your indication that the pace has let up just a little bit. The Fearless Femme, presented by the Beasley Group, taking the opportunity to come to the front. Brianna Botha from...
Billy, we got Odette Lynch in the pit down here. You want to talk about neutral pit for everybody?
Odette Lynch obviously making her way into the pit. So we've got that neutral pit just back there by the intersection of 2nd Street. And we talked about that free lap at the start of the race. And what that means is if any of the riders get caught up in a crash, if they've got a flat tire, if they've got a significant mechanical issue with their bike, they get to go into that neutral service pit and take what we call as a free lap. They get to sit out one lap of the race. Their bike will get repaired. They'll get a new wheel. They'll fix the chain. Whatever the scenario might be, they'll have the opportunity to fix it and get back in the race at no penalty. They won't be considered a lap down. They'll still be on the same lap as the rest of the field. So that's kind of our opportunity to try and keep the playing field as level as we can and to account for the mishaps that just unfortunately naturally occur during this high speed of bike racing. So hopefully everything's all good for Odette Lynch back there in the pit. She's got her team director, Arun Khan Sanacone, back there. He's going to help her get back into the mix when the riders come around this next time. So again, our riders back on Northampton Street. And again, look at the collective body language on the group. They are going a little bit easier, but right now on the front, we've got another team starting to get in on the pacemaking. Not only is the automatic squad getting after it, but we've got that brand new squad of Caldera Medical, the ex-Orea Racing Squad out of California, getting in on the mix. They've got a somewhat similar orangey kind of colored top on there, so a little more challenging to pick them out from the automatic squad. But those Caldera Medical riders, Laurel Rathburn, one of the taller riders on that team that we talked about earlier, she picked up a very big win at the first USA Criterium Series event of the year earlier in April down in Anniston, Alabama.
Thank you guys very much. You've been very generous. We're going to count this out. I got a $100 donation even from Blink. Did I get that right? From Blink? Blink. I got $100 from Blink in one go there. So we got $1, $2, and then all the way up to the $100 from Blink. Thank you guys very much. We really appreciate it. Laura Reppert's going to count that money, and we'll be handing it out to the riders directly.
Well, I'm always excited to have more preams to offer. We've still got a whole host of preams to ring off here for the group. We're going to start ringing that bell in just a couple of moments. In the meantime, we're watching some new faces make their way to the front right now. We've got one of the One Racing riders. That's Elizabeth Castano from One Heart Racing. Elizabeth been having a very good season so far. She picked up a pretty big podium at Swanee, Georgia just a couple of weeks ago, so she's been on a pretty hot run of form. Also had a great ride last weekend at the 18th running of the Wilmington Grand Prix down in Wilmington, Delaware. So she'll be one of the many riders to watch out here, especially as we get towards the tail end of the race.
So we got some friends in great places. Our friends at Zwift have chipped in $500 for a mid-race preem that we're going to be handing out next based upon time. So big thanks to our friends at Zwift for chipping in $500 for our mid-race preem. If you guys use Zwift, thank you for using Zwift. There you go. And if you don't know what Zwift is, you please look it up and get yourself a Zwift account and ride virtually with our friends over at Zwift. We're going to be ringing our bells, and this is going to be a $500 preem.
All right, attention riders, $500 preem, $500 preem, $500 preem to the winner of the lap. $500 courtesy of our friends at Zwift. So $500 on the line. And Faradell Morris, she was just going on the attack to set up her teammates. She took a look back over her shoulder when she heard the bell, and she couldn't believe the position she was now in off the front on the run into $500 preem.
$500 is definitely going to spike the speed and intensity in this field, no matter what team is intent on a victory here today. $500 is on the line, and oftentimes teams will gamble for a level of money at that extent, regardless of what the payout is at the end of the day. This is a pro race. We do pay them for their final results at the end of the race, but $500 for our mid-race preem, courtesy of Zwift. We think we'll change it. Bill, who do we think is on the front? Because I see some higher dose. I see automatic. Who else is mixing in there?
Yeah, Fearless Femme up there as well. Those riders very well known for their finishing ability, but it looked like a couple of the higher dose Renovo riders. So it's got to be Lawrence and Sear getting in the mix. It looks like, Faradell Morris still with a little bit of a gap. So Faradell Morris leading this one out. She may have enough real estate to get this done. Hey, Easton, she's about to pick up $500 right here. What an amazing one-lap effort.
Yeah, $500.
Avani Blondin picking up that $500. That was your two-time Olympic gold medalist, showing us a little bit about those speedy legs.
You know, she's a champion through and through. She's going to go for the big opportunities there. That's great to see. So Ivani collecting $500 there on the line. They'll split that with the team, but yeah, great job by her.
Yeah, and I can assure you that's not the only money they're going to make tonight. So a big contribution to kick off the bank account here in Easton for the automatic squad. And look at this. She's actually continuing to roll that gap now. Avani, mostly known as a sprinter, not really a breakaway rider, especially a solo breakaway rider. So a little bit of an interesting move here that she's continuing to stay on the gas.
I was reading the automatic newsletter that comes every once in a while, and they were talking about their strategy at Athens Twilight Criterium, which is an amazing event at down in Athens, Georgia. It is a monument of cycling, and Ivani's strategy was to sprint at the finish, do nothing until the sprint, and that's exactly what Bill's talking about. However, those $500 from Zwift seem to have really drawn out Ivani here. Now, what happens for a pure sprinter? Does she continue to just ride tempo and hope that riders come across to her, or what's the strategy?
Yeah, the best case scenario right now is exactly that. She's going to ride at about 90% effort out there. She's going to hope that some of the other major teams get a rider across to her, because if she has 3 or 4 riders join her, the odds are still high that she's the fastest rider in that group. As right now, you can see the Aurea Medical Squad, or the Caldera Medical Squad on the front chasing. But I'll tell you what, the body language collectively of the field, they're not going that hard right now. So this could bode very well for Blondin and the automatic squad.
I'm reading it as fatigue. I think that this race has been very hard to average speed. I was looking on our YouTube comments here that somebody has done some math. They've averaging over 23 miles an hour for the crit so far. I mean, that's very respectable. We got some crosswinds down along the water, so they're fighting through crosswinds, and then this uphill on Northampton. All the while, they're averaging 23 miles an hour. So I think fatigue is what we've got going so far.
So Ivani Blondin still off the front. You can read her body language. She's still moving at a pretty good clip, but not riding full gas right now. She's a rider that she would rather have a little bit of company joining her up there, and then just like that, here comes the rest of the field. And you can see the white jerseys, the red helmets. That is the Fearless Femme presented by the Beardsley Group, bringing the rest of the field back up. So just like that, we are all back together. And I'll tell you what, Bike Racing Tactics 101 now would be a wonderful time for a counterattack. It looks like Faradell Morris from the automatic squad just going up the right-hand side there, going into the circle. So automatic racing really coming out swinging here today, and some of the teams that were aggressive a little earlier now are taking a little bit of a back seat. So have to wonder, you know, again, we talked about it in some of the earlier races, that the opportunity for success with a breakaway goes up very dramatically in the second half of the race. We're now there. We're at 42 minutes. We're racing for a total of 75. So as Gabe alluded to, that fatigue may be starting to set in a little bit. Some of those riders that were riding aggressively early may be paying the price just a tad.
Automatic, though, has continued to be very aggressive throughout this race, so I hope that they are able to find obviously victory. We hope victory for everybody, but at the very least, podium result here for that team is to reward them for the amount of effort that they're putting in. But I do wonder if we may be talking about some of the squads we haven't mentioned so far very much later on, because they have not been very proactive in the first half, perhaps allowing the race to settle into the legs. There's also a little bit of travel fatigue in the legs in this race in particular because of Winston-Salem. We have a number of riders in this race who were in Winston last night. Now they're here. They drove 9 hours to be here, so they may be contributing to the fatigue.
Well, that's actually going to be Emily Singleton out of Woodside, New York, representing the automatic squad. So she's been saving her legs just a little bit, but the counterattacks are coming fast and furious. That's going to be Samantha Bosco from Caldera Medical, and that's that team. It's a newer team out of the California area this year, and they have come out swinging at some of the major races so far this year. So great to see Samantha Bosco starting to light things up there in the main field.
I think Caldera has a lot of horsepower here and a lot of speed that can be used after the horsepower is controlling the race. But again, I think fatigue is going to be the sort of the third storyline here. Skylar Schneider off pace here. I'm not sure what's happened there.
Yeah, she came through off the back the last time through, and I just kind of caught that. I'm not sure if she had some kind of issue and why she would bypass the pit if she had some kind of mechanical. I'm not sure, so not exactly sure, but certainly one of the race favorites off the back, trying to bridge her way back up. And you know, there's not a lot of racers that would be able to close that gap down, but I'm pretty confident that she'll be able to catch back up. But that's going to be a major use of energy for her to do that.
Last time Skylar was here was in 2024. It was raining for that that day, and she and Corinne Lebecki, the eventual winner, really drove that breakaway that also had, I believe, Ariel Verhaaren in that break, who finished on the podium. So there's a very strong break. Very great to see them here, and great to have Skylar return. We have, looks like the reeling in of automatic is about to take place here in turn number 1, thanks to Caldera. And we'll see if the counter attack will come through here in a few moments' time.
Yeah, I tell you, we've not seen a whole lot out of the 1K flip squad. They've got some riders that have been riding very, very well throughout the season this year. Flor Espiritusanto has had a phenomenal spring so far, a very fast finisher. She's found her way on some national level podiums, but I think those teams are a little bit smaller than some of the big teams. Even though they've still got some good talent, they don't quite have the workhorse numbers that some of the other teams have, so they're playing a little bit more of a conservative race out here. They only have one card to really play, and they're kind of saving it for the finish, hoping to either put their rider in the right breakaway at the end, or really hoping it all comes down to a bunch kick where they can play their hand. Now, once again, the higher dose of Renova squad, they've taken a little bit of a back seat here for the last few laps. They're now starting to put themselves into the mix at the front. And of course, we've got the Fearless Femme presented by Beardsley Group in there as well. Brianna Botha making her way on through. The field's starting to get a little more single file once again out there. That's always the indication that whoever's at the front is twisting the throttle just a little bit there, putting a little bit of pace on. And you know, I think the deeper you get into the race, the closer you get to the finish, these riders that have survived these earlier selections, they start to feel better and better about their chances now that they've made it through some of the toughest points of the race. So now they're going to get themselves up into the mix. So a lot of names that we may not have talked about thus far, I would imagine we're going to be starting to mention some of them a little bit more as we're now inside of 30 minutes of racing to go. Remember, 75 minutes is what we're looking at. We've got 18 on the lap count right now as we see Skylar Schneider rolling through, and it looks like she may have all but given up on that chasing effort. Looked like she was going to bridge that gap, but now looks like Skylar officially pulling off the course. So that's definitely a blow to the competition to see that Legion of Los Angeles rider call it a day.
All right, well, we wish her the best. Hopefully a little bit of recovery for tonight, and we'll see her tomorrow at Torres Somerville over in New Jersey for the 81st edition of that race. So that'll change our dynamics a little bit from what we forecasted, but nevertheless, it is a bike race after all. That's why we do it, because if we know who would win, we wouldn't have to do it in the first place. We still have a lot of great talent, including our defending champion, Sophia Ariola, who was in a breakaway last year with Grace Arlinson. Arlinson not racing with us this year, but Sophia, if she has the opportunity to be in a breakaway, she could definitely drive that pace. And but she's also won from field sprint situations as well. However, if it comes down to a field sprint, we would expect the team of 2028 Virginia Blue Ridge to be working for Marleas Mejia.
A nice little crowd down there along Larry Holmes' drive. Of course, if you're not familiar with Easton, Pennsylvania, the site of our criterium here, Easton, the home to former world heavyweight champion Larry Holmes. Larry giving a lot back to Easton. Always happy to see him floating around. Of course, we've got our boxing gloves that are hanging up here. These are going to go to the winner of the women's race and the men's race, getting a set of signed gloves here to commemorate the Easton Criterium. All right, we've got another preem, $100 preem, $100 preem, $100 preem, courtesy of Alloy 5. $100 preem, courtesy of Alloy 5.
Yeah, Sam Schneider now at the front. So we hadn't seen Sam up until really about now. And so perhaps Sam, Skylar's older sister, is going to take over. Remember, let's jump back in history a little bit. Sam Schneider has actually won almost every criterium in America at this point.
I mean, literally every major criterium, she's got that on her resume. Yeah, amazing athlete.
Yeah, except for the Tour of Somerville.
Ah, that's true. Oh man, maybe 2026 is her year.
Yeah. So, but Sam is here, and Sam certainly brings a lot of experience, because when you know how to win a race, you can really fall back on that skill set versus relying exclusively on fitness to do it. You see Sam currently riding third wheel, so that's nice to see her at this point in time, because now we're sort of getting into the final third of our race with about 51 minutes of time elapsed in a 75-minute competition, so a third of the race left, and that's when really the true talent starts to come through. And Sam Schneider being able to really lean into her experience to get the most out of what she has available for herself here today. We got $100 on the line, courtesy of Alloy 5 Architecture. They're actually the presenting sponsor of the 5K that we do on this course to kick off our day of racing here in Easton, Pennsylvania. So big thanks again to Alloy 5 Architecture for your continued support of the Easton Criterium.
All right, here comes our sprint for $100, courtesy of our friends at Alloy 5. Who's going to get it? It's going to be that Renovo Higher Dose squad taking a quick look back over the shoulder. It's going to be Stephanie Lawrence grabbing another pocket full of cash. Faradell Morris from the automatic squad right on the wheel. And the rest of our field rolling through. 15 to go is what they saw that time. So we're slowly inching our way closer and closer to those single-digit numbers.
Stephanie doing an excellent job both years that she's raced with us. She was here last year and now again, and she always does this really amazing seated sprint courtesy of her extensive track background, and she just sort of lifts the tempo while staying in the saddle, and just through changing her cadence a bit, and just really smoothly is able to grab those preams. I don't know, we're single file right now coming through turn number 5 onto Larry Holmes, which is showing us that the tempo is high, but I also see a lot of looking over the shoulder right now, so I think that there's just, they know that they're just too far out from really setting up for anything other than sort of a Hail Mary at this point. I guess it's just, we're sort of the weird twilight phase of the crit at this moment in time.
Yeah, we've had a lot of folks try their hand at attacks out there so far early in the race, trying to catch some of the others by surprise, maybe by going away with an early move. Nothing has really gotten any traction out there. We've seen some individuals. We saw at one point we had a group of about 9 or 10 riders get clear that looked like it might have the makeup to go away, but that too was quickly brought back to heel in here. So yeah, now we're at that point where I think the sprinters are starting to sniff out that sprint finish, and the breakaway artists are starting to think, okay, how can we play our card? And at this point, the best tactic might be to wait until about maybe about 5 or 4 laps to go, because that's the point in the bike race where the sprinters really have themselves locked in of like, okay, I've made it this far, it's got to be a sprint finish. We're now inside of 5 laps to go or something like that. And so they start to just think about positioning for the sprint more so than they think about what's going on at the very front of the bike race. That gives the breakaway riders that opportunity to get that last ditch attempt, and you get that hesitation from the rest of the field. And at that point, that's all you need. You need a half a lap or maybe 1 lap of hesitation at 5 or 4 to go. And if you get 6-8 seconds at that point, it's usually enough time simply because you're running out of real estate to chase it down.
Riley McMullen on the front right now. Very interesting story with Riley where she changed her nationality this winter. She went from New Zealand, where she'd actually won national championships in New Zealand. She's now an Australian, and she's already won a national championship on the track in Australia. So McMullen changing nationalities this winter and now carrying through some very good momentum forward, and she's been able to translate that to the road very well with the 2028 Virginia Blue Ridge program. The past few days down in their latest race block, whether it's Tour de Bloom or down in Winston-Salem, she's been an integral part of that success that team has had. So nice to see Riley now coming to the front very late in this race, showing that this squad is here ready to get the win.
Well, a lot of riders starting to make their way to the front now that we've not talked about in that green jersey. Coming up the left-hand side, run for Skyline. That's Colleen Gulick. Colleen originally out of the Pennsylvania area, now living out in California, but always makes the trip back east to participate in these wonderful Memorial Day races. I'm sure we'll see her at Somerville as well tomorrow. I believe Colleen has been on the podium here in years past in Easton, so she knows pretty well how to play this finish. And, you know, again, another rider who's out there by herself, so she's got to be very smart with her positioning and her effort. So we haven't talked much about her. She's actually been near the rear of the field most of the time, just kind of floating along, but now sensing the opportunity and maybe the need to start to move up a little bit and get herself in contention, because we've got enough bigger teams here that when they start that lead out with maybe 3-4 laps to go, if you're not in position, you're going to have a really tough time to get in position. So always better to think a step or two ahead.
We have a lot of support here in Easton once again for our races. Big thanks to Pure Energy Cycles down in Lambertville, New Jersey. They also obviously have the Fearless Femmes in this race, but the shop has contributed $100 for preams in this race this evening. So we're going to be ringing the bell next time they come up Northampton Street for $100 pream to the winner of the next lap, courtesy of Pure Energy Cycles in Lambertville, New Jersey.
And hey, what great time to ring a bell as we're starting to see some action on the front. Attention riders, $100 pream. $100 pream to the winner of the lap. $100 courtesy of Pure Energy Bike Shop in Lambertville, New Jersey. $100 to the winner of the lap. Look like our riders from Automatic leading the charge. That was Jenna Nestman, who was rider number 33 leading the charge through, and she's taking a look back right now, trying to find one of her teammates. Jenna, a very accomplished rider in her own right, but she'd rather rely on the speed of Ivani Blondin potentially to maybe grab that $100 if Ivani is in contention. But now is it's starting to get on that time of, do you make the effort for those preams, or do you save it for the finish? And we still have about 10 and a half laps to go. So in theory, we still got, about almost 20 minutes of racing, a little less than 20 minutes of racing to go. If you leave it out there for one of these preem sprints now, do you have time to recover for the finale? That's always the burning question.
Interesting dynamic right now as you look down Larry Holmes on that long shot, and you see them shoulder to shoulder there. Now as we transition to this front shot, we see that we've got one, is that Faradell from Automatic? Yeah, so from Automatic Racing, nice to see Faradell kicking out one more time. She's going to try and go for this preem. She's already won something here today, and she looks like she's going to go for it again. And here she is out of the saddle. She's not leaving anything to question. And she will go ahead and take that $100 preem. So Faradell Morris for Automatic Racing taking the $100 preem from Pure Energy Cycles.
At the front of the field now, we're starting to see some of those riders in that 1K flips team. That looked like it was, I believe, looking down my list here, I kind of lost it. There it is, Julie Voss. Julie Voss from the 1K flips team was leading the charge on the field. But right now, Faradell Morris riding off the front. And I'll tell you what.
How's that?
maybe caught the field off guard just
Yeah.
a little bit. Look at that daylight as she's making her way down that Sitgrave Street alley. She's got a good 6 or 7 seconds right now. And, you know, again, it's not a ton, but a breakaway starts somewhere. So this is a great opportunity for Automatic, especially as we get near the end of the race. They've got one of the fastest sprinters with our dual Olympic gold medalist, Ivani Blondin. So now the Automatic team, they've got zero obligation to work. They can let the rest of these teams chase. They can save their energy now to put Blondin in a great position late. So a brilliant tactical move now, getting that preem and going off the front for the Automatic squad.
Yeah, it is great. Now I'm trying to actually look at the flags off the water here. It looks like it's a head crosswind maybe off the water. So that's going to be very hard for a solo rider to hold that tempo, because now as you see she makes this left-hand turn onto Northampton. She's now going up this incline. It's about a 7% kicker. Briefly, it's only about 20 pedal stroke, maybe less than that pedal strokes. But still, it's enough after you've been dealing with cross headwind. This is Faradell Morris, ladies and gentlemen, for Automatic Racing, trying to look down, find some extra speed in those legs. Let's see what the field does here. Field may be giving her a long leash late in this race.
10 to go, riders, 10 to go. You've got one rider off the front, 10 laps to go, one rider making a bid for glory. There's a whole lot of looking around there on the front. That does not bode well for the chase when everybody is just kind of looking at each other. They need to pick up the pace very, very shortly if they want to bring this back, or Automatic may well run away with it. You can check that big screen right there in center square, straight ahead of the start-finish area. You can see what a big effort that rider Faradell Morris is putting in, and she's picked up 2 preams so far, and now she's got the most significant gap of the day.
She's out of sight. She's out of sight on certain sections of this course right now. Like on Sitgraves, she's out of sight completely. Look at this shot. It's amazing for us right now. Look at the count out.
And that gap's got to be almost 10 seconds at this point.
And
8,
only
10
One
seconds.
Heart is the team on the front bringing it back. How many teammates does One Heart even have in here? Look at that. Wow. They need to think about this, because now we're into single digits on this bike race, and time can run out pretty quickly on these races.
Yeah, this is a dangerous game for some of the other teams, for 1K Flitz, for Caldera Medical, for the Higher Dose Renova squad, and of course for the Fearless Femme Beardsley group. This is a very dangerous game. They're letting one rider get a little bit of a gap, and they're all playing a game of chess back there. Nobody wants to commit back in the field. Nobody wants to spend that energy just yet. But they've got one rider off the front. Hey, Easton, how about your leader right here with 9 to go?
9 laps to go. Faradell Morris on the front, and now we know Fearless Femme knows that they need to get themselves into action here. I see some of the sprinters starting to line themselves up, though. Marleas Mahias and Odette Lynch, right, 1 and 2, right around each other. They know that they have to keep an eye on each other in this finale.
Yeah, that if you were watching closely on the front of the group, the Fearless Femme rider leading the charge, actually Javiera Munoz, Paola's daughter, who is out there as well. So Paola Munoz, one of the riders we called to the start grid, her daughter Javiera is actually riding with the Fearless Femme Beasley groups, the Beasley group squad. So mother and daughter duo out there in this pro race. A wonderful story out there with the youngster putting herself on the front in the service of her team.
We've got some great businesses here on Northampton and Easton, and one of them has brought up a $75 preem and a tray of cookies for everybody here on the stage. It's Duchess Cookies right here on Northampton, across the street, right behind our VIP tent, actually, is where Duchess Cookies are located. So go in there and get yourself a tray of cookies to thank them for all of their support. They've given us $75 for a preem. And we're going to get this going one more time, because we're running out of time for the preams that we still have left on our sheet.
All right, attention riders, we've got another preem, $75, courtesy of our friends at Duchess Cookies. $75 preem, $75 preem on the line, courtesy of Duchess Cookies. And I'll tell you what, I'm holding right here in my paw a double chocolate chip inside a croissant. This
What?
came straight from Dutch's Cookies. Gabe, how many of these do you think 75 bucks could buy?
Hopefully like 30.
I'll buy into that. 30. I'll buy into that. If you're over there, turn around, go into Dutch's Cookies and sample some of the best cookies here in downtown Easton. This thing is unbelievable. I'm probably going to be awake till 2 in the morning if I eat all the way through this thing.
Great to have such great local support in a local event here in Easton. All right, so this Dutch's Cookies Preem has really brought down this move called Dara on the front right now. Really driving the pace. It kind of looks like the riding style of Urelli from the back here, to see whether or not that's her. Our drone's getting the batteries ready for the final few laps of the race. So we're gonna stay with this long shot. We're gonna pivot over to turn number 6, and we're seeing Faradell. Now she's been out for 5 or 6 laps now on her own. That's a long time out here. Each lap is just about 1 kilometer, give or take.
Yeah, it's about 0.7 around, a little bit of elevation, I think about 30 feet of elevation. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it adds up over the course of an hour and 15 minutes. But right here, Faradell Morris gonna pick up another 75 bucks, just like that. But the rest of the field, they are sick and tired of this one rider. They are getting on the gas. That's your defending champion, riding for Virginia's Blue Ridge 2028, Sophia Ariola on the front. So Sophia maybe feeling the pinch a little bit. She would love to go back-to-back here in Easton. And Gabe, have we seen that yet in the history, that a rider has gone back-to-back with wins?
We have not yet seen that in our history so far in the past 6 years, but I would have to guess that she's lining it up for Marleas, although I don't see Riley up near the front yet either. So we'll see what's going on with the motivation, but the effort put in right now by Sophia Ariola, your defending champion for Virginia Blue Ridge 2028, is doing its work, and it is bringing back Faradell Morris as we speak on Larry Holmes Drive, which means we're going to watch for the counterattack this late in the race.
Yeah, we talked about it a few minutes ago, how you get inside that 6, 5, 4 lap to go point, where the surprise attack could be the one that works, because all the sprinters are starting to think about how to position, about where they want to unfold that sprint from. So it's one last opportunity really starting to come here in the last couple of laps. So I think as we see this catch going to be made here momentarily, but man, look at this. Faradell Morris still holding very strong. The rest of the field spread out across the road, and what that tells me is every time they chase, they gain a little time. They know they can catch her once they commit, so they're letting her stay out there for a little bit. They're not in a big hurry just yet to make the catch.
It is risky because you never know what could happen, but the amount of time they did just take out was pretty significant. Sophia Ariola one more time now, relifting the tempo with different riders on her wheel. So it seems that Virginia Blue Ridge really wants to bring this thing back together, though. In a way, nobody else is willing to help them out because they know that they've got one of the best sprinters in the bunch. And so they don't really want to help the Marleas to get to the finish. But here's the catch about to be made at Sete Luna corner. And now we're on Sitgreaves, and we'll call that catch made.
Well, just like that, we are all back together. So when they get back through here, they'll see 5 to go, and things look like they're all back together. We're not seeing the counterattack just yet. Everyone looking like they were under the gun just a little bit with the pressure at the front of the field. So everybody kind of taking a little bit of a moment here to recompose themselves ahead of the finale. So not sure if this is going to turn out to be a mistake or not by some of these other teams not counterattacking. This surely indicates that a lot of teams are feeling very, very comfortable with the opportunity for the field sprint out here. So that's the read I'm getting right now, is Kim Stoveld from the automatic squad getting back on the front. You know, talk about a rider that's willing to throw everything into it in the last-ditch effort. It's going to be Stoveld.
Stoveld's going to drop the hammer right now and try to get us close to the finish. 5 laps to go. She's drawn out Sophia Ariola, one of her teammates, and Stephanie Lawrence. So we got 4 riders separating themselves right now.
Yeah, 4 riders off the front dangerously. 2 of them are in that bright orange from Automatic. So you've got Stoveld on the front. Sitting third wheel is Emily Singleton right now. And then we've got one of the riders from Virginia's Blue Ridge there in second wheel. And then on the back, that's one of the higher dose Renovo riders. So in theory, a promising move, but does the Virginia Blue Ridge rider, does the Renovo rider really want to work with 2 riders from the same team? Now, both those riders, Singleton and Stoveld, not the fastest sprinters out there, so is that going to play into the equation now?
I think Sophia knows that she can out-sprint later, so she's motivated to work right now just to keep the gap going if she wants. But we're going to try and see what Riley McMullen is going to be doing. In the rest of the field. Stephanie Lawrence also there.
All right, riders, we've got another preem, $100. $100 preem, $100 courtesy of the Beasley Law Firm of Philadelphia. $100 preem, $100 preem to the winner of the lap, courtesy of the Beasley Law Firm of Philadelphia.
You saw Riley McMullen and Marleas Mejia talking to each other on the front of the field as they came through, trying to decide, are we going to chase this thing back, or are we going to let Sophia fend for herself out there? Let's see what the answer to that question is. It looks like they're going to chase it back from my view. What do you see, Bill?
Yeah, I think this is all going to come back together here for the preem. One rider bridged across to that breakaway. That looks like one of the Caldera medical riders on the back of the bus there. I'm guessing that's going to be Laurel Rathburn who bridged across, but we've got a couple riders on the front of the field really stringing it out. So I think we may come back together here for the final turn and set up for a $100 sprint here for this Beasley Law Firm of Philadelphia preem. So just one rider too many, I think, in that breakaway. Once, the field wasn't really chasing, but once one more rider went across, that was enough of a catalyst for the rest of the field. And just like that, there's the catch. There's the rider from Renovo, higher dose, coming through.
Andrea Sear now driving the pace here. She's checking the shoulder. She wants to get this $100 preem from Beasley Law Firm of Philadelphia. Personal injury lawyers out of Philly supporting bike racing here this year. And Andrea Sears driving that tempo. Can she get there? She will. But she seems to be more concerned about the race win here as she's checking the shoulder drift and right. And it's Andrea Sear driving that pace, and she's got Fearless Femme right on the wheel. Sear doesn't maybe like this move at the moment because she wants to be a little bit more protected to set herself up for success in the final sprint.
Well, I'll tell you what, she came through for that preem, and she took a swing to the right-hand side there, and nobody wanted to come through. They weren't really interested in trying to get her at the line for that preem. They're all interested now in trying to keep it together, trying to follow the wheels, and making sure they are in a proper position for the finale. So again, we're now back on Larry Holmes Drive. Everything all together, maybe about a split. 12 riders back. You can see a little bit of daylight, but I think that's going to come all back together. When are we ringing the bell? And it's for all of it. Personally, I don't. Yeah, I think it is what it is. All right, we're going to be offering up one more preem for these riders. Hey, crowd, listen up. This is all you. Attention, riders. We've got a crowd preem. $300 preem. $300 preem to the winner of the lap. $300. This is courtesy of all the fine fans on the outside of the fencing here in downtown Easton.
Big thanks to all of you who contributed to our crowd preem to make that possible today. You guys all did an awesome job chipping into my pretzel jar there to make it possible to give us $300 for their gambler's pream for our riders. Now $300 on the line for the winner of the next lap, but then they've got one more lap to go.
Yeah, so technically we call this the gambler's pream, because usually if you sprint on this one, they got the bell at 2 to go. That means they're going to be sprinting into the bell again. That next bell going to be 1 to go. So the gambler pream sprinting just before the final sprint, it's a bit of a risky move. So we'll see who's going to feel like they've got the suds to get that gambler pream and try and pick up a top spot in the finish as well. So we're waiting for our Brown and Dobb Jeep to come around here. Here comes our lead vehicle right now. Who's going to get the $300 that y'all put into that bucket for these riders?
Come on, Easton, you all need to make some noise as they come up this home straight on Northampton. Bang your hands on these boards. Bang them really loud. Bang them and make that noise, because we're coming into 1 to go.
Attention riders, 1 lap to go. 1 to go, 1 to go, 1 to go. 1 lap to go.
Justine Thomas on the front there for the higher dose Renova program. And also now Laurel Rathbun taking over at the front. So Andreas here finds herself in an awkward position trying to back herself out of being on the front while Laurel is forcing her there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what we saw too is some of those Renovo riders are out of position in the group, so Sear not going to have any more help from her teammates. So being on the front, a very tricky spot to be as they're making that left-hand turn. You got Laurel Rathbun just behind from the Caldera squad. You've got Ivani Blondin from Automatic. Then you've got Fearless Femme. They are now down on Larry Holmes Drive. They're only a few hundred meters away from the final turn.
Andreas here needs to figure out how to get herself just a little bit more time, a little bit more protection if she wants to actually sprint for this, because Laurel Rathbun has done a great job forcing her to the front, but also helping to set up Ureli Salazar at the finish.
Ladies and gentlemen, make a little noise. This is going to be the final time for our professional women here tonight. It has been a phenomenal race. It is going to be a big, wild field sprint all the way up Northampton Street.
As we're kicking it up to Northampton with 100 meters to go, we're out of the saddle. Laurel Rathbun has a kick, but here comes Marleas Mejias of Cuba, taking the win for Virginia Blue Ridge 2028.
What an amazing finish to that race right there. Jenna Nessman from Automatic getting up in the mix as well. And my word, such an exciting finale to that finish.
The speed of Marleas is untouchable as she sprinted up and around. The other teams did a great job setting up their lead outs. Higher Dose getting themselves up a little too far too early for their preferences, but man, Virginia Blue Ridge doing a great job just doing their work to try and get themselves into perfect position, and Mejias coming from pretty far back on the final to actually get the race win for herself here tonight.
All right, what a great job for all of our women out there. We've still got more racing yet to come. Don't go anywhere. We are doing our first call to staging for our pro men's event. First call to staging, pro men. Call to staging.
Unofficially, we have Marleas Mejia, Jenna Nessman, and Paola Munoz in third there unofficially. So a lot of experience getting themselves on their podium here today. We're going to go down and talk to our race winners here momentarily. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're on that live stream listening to us, stick around. We got our pro men's race, and if you're here in Easton, get yourself a drink, because we're going to be hanging out.
Now, what an exciting finish to our professional women's event out there. 75 minutes of racing, and it all came down to a big, wild field sprint to the line. Look at this, Easton. Let's celebrate your champion right here. What a well-timed finish coming up the home straight to take it. Marlise Mias Garcia from the Virginia's Blue Ridge 2028 squad. And that team going to celebrate here right before the line. Very happy with a great performance by the squad. They came in with the defending champion. They came in with another very good sprinter. They had a lot of cards to play, and they executed to perfection.
Leas, come on up here. Oh man, the big boys are coming out to play. It is Bobby Lee. Marleas, come on over.
We've got our man Gabe Lloyd down on the street getting our winner out there into the road. So let's turn our attention down to right underneath the finish line, an interview with our champion.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations on your win here tonight. Walk us through that final sprint on that final lap. It looked like Higher Dose, Andrea Sear, Laurel Rathbun with Caldera, they were all trying to fight for position automatic, had a number of riders there as well. How did you sort of position yourself and get yourself into the right spot?
I'm through my teammate. She's working for me very hard today, so I follow her and start the sprint.
Riley McMullen is a great teammate to have. Sophia Ariola won here last year. Was it helpful to have that knowledge here today?
Yeah, we are happy for win today. My team, I'm working very hard for me.
Yeah, absolutely. You did a very good job. This is Marlene Mejias, ladies and gentlemen, from Cuba, doing an amazing job. Take it down. Nice job. Who did I get? Jenna Nessman? Come on over. This is second place, Jenna Nessman from Canada, I believe. All right, Jenna Nessman from Canada, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear second place here today at the Easton Crit. Well, come on, you all can make a little bit of noise. Woo, there we go. Hi, Jenna. Welcome to Easton. How did it feel out there for you today?
Yeah, it was really hard. I feel like we really animated the race, and yeah.
You absolutely animated the race from start to finish. You had Fairdale off the front for a majority of the race, but he also had Kim Stoveld really driving tempo throughout. And then Ivani got a massive preem somewhere in the mix too. So you guys were very proactive. Was that the plan, and were you happy with the follow through?
Yes, that was absolutely the plan, and we truly executed. Yeah.
Walk me through that final sprint, if you would, for me.
Yeah, I had to cover an attack from Higher Dose, and then that put me right on the front and followed the wheels and was just in a prime position.
Congratulations. To give us a little intro on yourself, if you would. You have a background on the track, I believe, and other stuff like that. Is that right?
Yeah, I come from the track primarily. Yeah.
Track background and Canadian cycling team. Is that right?
Yeah, Cycling Canada.
All right, very good. Well, welcome to Easton, and congratulations. This is Jenna Nessman, ladies and gentlemen, second place here today. Nice job. All right, we're going to do our podium here. Paula Munoz, we're looking for you. Our Chilean national or Olympian will be joining us on the podium as well. And then we're going to bring up our pro men to the podium. So we're going to do our podium presentation for our pro women right now. We're looking for Paula Munoz. We have our boxing gloves signed by Larry Holmes for our winners here in Easton. This is Larry Holmes' hometown. Great to have the signed boxing gloves available. Thank you guys so much for being here and hanging out with us today in Easton. Go grab yourself a drink or something to eat. We've got a whole lot of great food trucks up in Center Square. We got some great merchandise available for you up there as well. We've got our pro men getting themselves ready. My friend Justin Williams joining us here today. Hi, Justin, I'm over here. Hi, my man. Thank you for joining us. Great to see you. Great to see our friends from California and elsewhere joining us here in Easton tonight. We're very excited to see how our pro men's race shakes out. Our old friends are here as well, cajoling them to race. We're looking for Paula Munoz. Paula Munoz.
We're just waiting on Paolo Munoz to make her way to the finish here so we get our women's podium underway. In the meantime, we've got our men getting themselves all ready to go there. You can see they're back there all corralled up. They'll get their spots in the grid momentarily. But again, we're looking for Paolo Munoz if she can make her way to the podium.
All right, we have our podium finishers here now. In third place today for our professional women here in Easton Criterium presented by LVHN. Please welcome our Chilean Olympian, Paula Munoz. In second place, racing for automatic racing, she comes from Canada, it's Jenna Nesmith. And taking the win here in Easton, your Cuban national champion representing Virginia Blue Ridge 2028, it is Marleis Mejia. This is your 2026 Easton Criterium podium here in arms up, ladies. Congratulations. Let's hear it, Easton. Easton Grid presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network. Marleis Mejia is on the top step. Jenna Nesmith in second and Paula Munoz in a third. Getting those Larry Holmes boxing gloves on the top step. And of course, it wouldn't be a celebration on the podium. You gonna do arms up? Let's do some bubbly. Arms up one more time. Just the jersey shot. And of course, our celebration with our champagne. Watch out, photo team. She's a pro at this as well. Marleis Mejia, your champion in 2026 at the Easton Crit presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network. Thank you, ladies. Congratulations. And with that, we are going to begin our grids for our pro men and our call-ups for our pro men at this time.
starting at 10 and working up?
Yeah.
Who wants to start? You or me?
Can I do it?
I'll take my mate.
All right, who's it? In 10th place, in 10th call up here today, a multiple-time national champion, both in the United States and Belize, representing Legion of Los Angeles, the team he started. It's Justin Williams.
Our next call up to spot number 9. He rides for the
Row 4.
Kelly Benefit Squad. He was a winner of a stage at the Redlands Bicycle Classic. Please welcome Alejandro Chi.
For Bike Works, presented by Fred Beans, he is your reigning Pennsylvania Crit Champ. It's Andy Wolf.
Our next call-up rides for the Whoosh New Zealand squad. He's an Olympian, a former junior world champion on the track. Welcome, George Jackson.
6th on the grid here from Colombia. He represents Foundation Cycling. He was 4th here last year, the former junior world champion, Pan Am track champion, and World Cup medalist. It's Jordan Barra.
Next into the grid, he's an Olympian out of Colombia. He's a Pan American track champion and a national champion out of Colombia, riding for the Rockland Devo Talent Squad. Please welcome Juan Arango.
Your American U23 national champion, winning last night in Winston-Salem. It's Luke Fetzer.
Our next call up to spot number 3. He's the 2024 Caribbean Road Champion. He's also a former national champion of Belize. Please welcome Mr. Corey Williams.
The New Zealand National Crit Champion is here once again, but this year it's a different name. He's an Olympian. He's a World Cup medalist. Please welcome Keegan Hornblow.
Ladies and gentlemen, our final call up into spot number 1 on the grid. He was your winner here in 2024. He is the reigning U.S. National Champion out of Austin, Texas. This is Lucas the Cowboy Burgoyne. We doing Herman again or no? All right, we've got all of our riders in the grid. We're going to take just a moment again to head down right to Northampton Street to our man Herman to do another opening ceremony here with the U.S. National Anthem. So ladies and gentlemen, we would please ask you to remove your caps and remove your hats as we're going to turn the mic over for the playing of our national anthem.
It's my pleasure to introduce a Navy veteran and friend of mine to sing our national anthem here at the Easton Criterium. Please remove your hats and rise and direct your attention to the flag for the singing of our national anthem by my friend Herman Harris.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched, we're so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, very well done. Thank you so much. All right, riders, a quick bit of paperwork here before we get going. You are racing for 75 minutes of racing. The free lap is in effect until 5 to go. You can ride to the pit, you can walk to the pit, you can cut the course. Do not, under any circumstances, ride backwards on the course to get to the pit. The pit is located behind you on the left-hand side of the road. Our officials will be pulling riders if they deem it necessary. That will occur at the pit as well. Hopefully we're all ready here for a great night of racing in downtown Easton. Your professional men ready to get underway. Hey Easton, what do you think? Are you ready for another bike race?
Bang on those boards, Easton. Let's make some noise for our professional men. You're gonna go on the whistle. Here we go.
We're bumping elbows, diving through holes right off the starting line. Here's everyone trying to improve their position right. Oh, look at that one rider already on the ground. So caution, we got one rider down right in the middle of the road. Hopefully that young man is okay. I think it's changed.
All right, we got action here on the home straight, but we're okay. We got a race live here on coming down Larry Holmes right now as they come around. We're gonna see if we can. We're gonna do red flag, red flag. We're gonna do red flag situation, red flag situation, red flag here. Red flag, red flag, red flag, gentlemen, red flag, gentlemen. Red flag, gentlemen. All right, our rider is standing.
A big round of applause for Sebastian Brennis, one of the promising sprinters on the Good Guys Racing Squad out of New York City. Happy to see him be able to get up and get off the course. That's the unfortunate side of bike racing right there.
right, everybody. We thank you for your patience here. We had a race incident here in the home straight right off the start. One rider requiring medical attention. Yeah. So riders, you will be started on a whistle. Riders, you will be started on a whistle. You will not have a pace car until you catch the pace car. Riders, you'll go on the whistle. Riders go on the whistle. On the whistle, gentlemen. There we go, race restart here.
All right, we're back underway. Rubber side down for the rest of our athletes here as we get the restart underway. Yeah, always an unfortunate incident to see that happen, but hopefully that young man, Sebastian Brennis, is okay. He picked up a nice win Friday night at the Criterium over there at the Bob Rodale Fitness Park, that points race Criterium. He won, out of 9 sprints in that points race, he won 5 of them.
Wow.
A very fast finisher.
Okay. Well, an eventful start to the day. Here as we go, but we're back in action here. So we got this great live stream here this year. We're going to keep an eye on that and restart here. Going to reshuffle a little bit. Anytime you start in the formation that we had and then you intentionally bring it all back together, it's going to create a little bit of a early shuffle of the deck, although these kind of starts are a little bit more traditional from what these guys see, because we're one of the only races left that actually does a grid start. So these guys are actually not familiar with the grid format as much as these awkward bunch sprints or the starts that occur here.
Generally the mass start is what you see at every criterium around the country. You guys have kind of revolutionized the start with your long tail creative productions with the grid start, but yeah, obviously that mishap caused a little bit of chaos out there, so went right back to a normal start, but it looks like we're now underway as our riders tick off lap number 1, just about 1 minute and 30 seconds, so our pro men now in full flight, everything good to go here for the 75-minute race. Just like the women's race, we're gonna have a whole host of preams to hand out to these guys. We'll pick some opportune times to hand them out, maybe inopportune if you're a racer, hey, who knows, but we'll pick the times when it looks right to throw a little bit of cash, a little bit of fuel in the race fire down there. So sit back and relax. Our VIP area presented by our friends at Tito's Handmade Vodka, BSI Corporate Benefits, and of course Portera Travel. They've been serving up some great beverages over there all day long. Make your way over to the VIP area. Make your way anywhere along the course. Grab a beverage, grab some food. The roads have dried out. We've got a wonderful night here for bike racing to celebrate the 6th annual Easton Criterium, brought to us by the Lehigh Valley Health Network, part of the Jefferson Health family. Here's our brown Daub lead vehicle. Our field all together. We've got a huge field of riders out there. I believe we've got 143 riders now coming through.
Keegan Hornblow, New Zealand national champion on the front for Whoosh NZ Cycling Project. Nice to see. We've had the very great fortune of my friend James Canny from New Zealand sending us a whole bunch of New Zealand national champions every year that we are here in Easton. So we love to see it, love to have it. And once again, we are graced with the reigning elite national criterium champion here in Easton. Look at this field size on this live stream as they come through. That's more Whoosh boys coming around. Sounds like we had a little bit of touch of wheels in turn 4, but as to be expected really in a slow section, right? That turn 4 becomes a really big bottleneck. It slows you down a little bit. It's hard to flow through there if you're middle to back of the field.
Yeah, if you're at the front of the field, you might feather the brakes just a little bit because you're coming down Ferry Street, probably still going about 31 miles an hour, so just the lightest touch on the brake to dive into that right-hander onto Sitgraves. But to your point, if you're 10, 20, 30 wheels back, you're getting a little more brake and a little more brake, making that re-acceleration that much harder. That's why positioning so very important out here in this race.
George Jackson driving that pace right now. My man, my Olympian friend, he's coming up and through. George Jackson is no stranger to hard races, having won the KOM and the Sprinters Ace jersey at the Tour of Southland. He's also a junior world champion on the track. But my man George has been racing professionally in Europe and Asia for the past 2 years. We haven't seen him racing with us since 2022 when he won the Tour of Somerville. He won the Tour of Somerville by attacking on lap 3 and then establishing the breakaway that ended up making it to the finish line. That is very rare in any bike race, let alone the Tour of Somerville. Looks like George's tactics are basically the exact same here in Easton this year, where he is just gonna go flying off the line here, dragging this field around and forcing them all to just play catch up to the speed of George Jackson. Looks like we had a number of riders in our neutral pit. So we have a bunch of riders in the pit. Stay right, riders, stay right. Stay right, riders, stay right. Stay right, riders. Daniel Aronowski from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on the front right there with my buddy George. Dan Aronowski, one of the talents who has come up through the ranks over the past few years. Awesome to see Aronowski really at the pointy end of not only this race, but a number of great races around the country, and he's also done a fantastic job establishing himself as the king of Newport News. A great little stage race down there in Newport News.
Hey, you're talking about the Visit Pittsburgh squad. I just saw one of their riders running back on the sidewalk heading to the pit with a big tear in the right side of his short. So obviously a little bit of a crash out there. And if it's on the right side, well, you know where that probably came from. Probably came from Setaluna turn there.
Yeah, turn 4, just sort of getting pushed out and then sliding out and maximizing the grip on the tires over there. Course conditions right now pretty ideal. There's a little bit of moisture left in the pavement, but it has not rained here for at least 4 hours, if not more. Weather temperatures not too bad. My watch says it's 57 degrees right now. So it's cool, which is the reason that the moisture is still in the pavement, but it's definitely raceable. Definitely good conditions for racing right now.
Riders, stay to the right, stay to the right. We've got some riders exiting out of the pit. Dave Dawson from the automatic squad out of Philadelphia, PA, starting to throw down the gauntlet just a little bit as we've got one long line of riders as John Stoveld making his way back into the mix out of this pit. And Gabe, we've got riders going through turn 1 while they were still coming out of turn number 6. That is a long gap. That's probably a good 8, 9, or 10 seconds from the final turn to the first turn.
Yeah, it's a big race. We had guys knocking our doors down to get into this race today, so which is great. You know, it's a great problem to have. We have 144 starters here today. Looks fine. We're doing well. National champion Lucas Burgoyne is here. He was just in that crash. He just came in off a neutral pit. So Lucas Burgoyne affected in that last crash on turn number 4. So, you know, you got to be attentive in these races. The field size isn't the impact. It's really just paying attention to the riders around you at any given point. Most of the riders that are in this field are international or category 1s. So we're still looking at a very high caliber of rider racing with us here today.
Well, I'll tell you, interesting that Lucas Burgoyne in that crash. If you watch the style of the Cadence squad, as we see Burgoyne going down the sidewalk with a host of riders. That was a big pile up down there. One of our Fusion riders, some of our One Heart riders out of Tennessee. So a big crash happening somewhere out on the course is Real Deal Ed Veal now on the front. But, you know, Burgoyne and the Cadence squad, they make a habit of some of these races of riding a little far back in the field because they tend to wait for the field sprint activity at the end of the race. And this is one of those courses where it's a little dangerous to ride farther back than about 15 or 20 wheels because we've got so many tight turns that you're bound to come to grief out there somewhere. As we're watching We got to have 15 or 20 riders right now in the pit.
Yeah, Lucas Burgoyne back in the pit. So this is the second time that Burgoyne has been in the pit, but I believe it's all these riders' second time in the pit here. So we're having a little bit of a kerfuffle over there in turn 3 and 4 repeatedly. So we're going to try and see if we can figure out that race line over there and make sure they're all fun in the happy way through there.
Well, again, this is one of the many potential hazards of racing bikes at a high level. These are some of the best in the country, but hey, sometimes accidents happen. You touch wheels, you bump bars. Everybody's fighting for, 6 inches of roadway when there's only room for about 4 inches of roadway. So this kind of stuff is bound to happen. Hey, Field, stay to the right. Stay to the right. Field, stay to the right. We've got a whole group of riders coming back as Dave Dawson continues to lay down the law. Aiden Volmuth from the Competitive Edge Cycling Squad, a young first-year professional, also up there in the mix.
Davey Dawson, the mustache, what's he called? The mustache maestro or something like that. He's on the front right now giving a good pull because he knows that being on the front is a safe space. So we talk a lot about, hey, you don't want to be the first racer in a bike race. Well, in this instance, you actually do want to be up near the front in this bike race because it's going to be the safe place to be. You can find your own line, choose your own speed. You're not really having to react to other people because you can completely control what you are doing. And I think that the riders behind him, like Marcos Mendez and other riders of that caliber, know that as well. So Davey's in good company up there at the front of the field, but you can just see the body language of the riders as they're exiting the turn onto Larry Holmes Drive, where you've got a lot of turning of shoulders, rolling of shoulders, a lot of chasing, a lot of desperation coming out of that final turn.
Well, looks like our Whoosh New Zealand boys on the front right now. That's the best way to stay out of trouble, even though it's going to cost you just a little bit more energy. But staying on the gas, having that clean sight line, the guaranteed way to stay out of trouble right now as we're looking at our leaders come through. Luke Fetzer up there in the mix. He's got another one of his Cadence teammates. We can see a whole bunch of the New Zealanders in there. The Foundation squad, maybe a little farther back than they're used to. Foundation in those red tops with the white long sleeve jerseys. They've been one of the dominant Criterium teams all year long. They've won, I would say, probably about 80% of the major Criteriums this year. The ones they haven't won have been won by Lucas Burgoyne out there. So it's been pretty heavily weighted for Foundation out of New York. And they're a New York City-based team, but you look down their roster, the bulk of their roster comes from South America. Obviously, New York, a bit of a melting pot of riders, and a lot of very good bike riders make their way up from that area. So Foundation with a wonderful, talented squad, and their director is a former professional as well, Sebastian Alexander out of Argentina. And Sebastian, he's been in the U.S. for about the past 24, 25 years, and he was a very good bike racer. Now he's at the helm directing that team, calling all the tactical shots. And he is very, very smart. He knows his team's strengths. More importantly, he knows the weaknesses of a lot of the other teams out there. And they have really worked a successful game plan. As we see Brian Gomez now up on the front.
Oh, that's a dangerous move right there. You got a bunch of whoosh riders from New Zealand up near the front. Lucas Burgoyne going backwards pretty quickly, entering turn number 1, so I'm not sure if he's having an issue there. But up at the front of the race, we're looking at Keegan Hornblow in the New Zealand National Champs kit right behind him. And then we got Summerhill, we believe, in that group as well. So we got 2 whoosh riders, potentially Summerhill from Team Cadence, marking this move. We have a Foundation rider. So keeping an eye on this field up at the front of the right now, and this little long shot here because we're relying on the drone to cover us for this long straight here, but on Larry Holmes as we fly right now. But we're going to switch over to that camera in turn 6 and get an eye on our breakaway. Cade Bickmore potentially. Cade's on that program now. Cade's a great rider. He was on Project Echelon the past few years. He's now joined over the Team Cadence rider, so he's definitely a good rider to have on your arsenal. As we're looking through, we're seeing riders of 5, but we are caught, and so we're going to reshuffle one more time. It was our friend Bobby Lee making that catch right there. Bobby, a 3-time Olympian, and definitely one to watch here. He hasn't done a criterium since 2017 at the Reading Rad Sport Festival with us. And so this is his first crit since 2017. Now, Bobby has been racing mountain bikes, and he wins a lot of mountain bike races in our region. So he's still riding bikes, but first crit back since 17.
So that 2017 festival out in Reading, that was, I think, was that the first year you employed the grid out there? And that was, Bobby did a little fundraising. You guys did a little fundraising, and Bobby started dead last on the grid that year. It was probably about the same amount of riders, about 125, 150 riders. And he made it to the front that year in probably 8-10 laps. It was
like 7 laps.
7 laps, okay, right? Give or take. So another equally challenging course to make it to the front. But yeah, kind of hard to believe that was his final criterium in, geez, we're almost 9 years at this point, which is amazing. For as long as that young man raced bikes since the age of 8, it's hard to believe his last criterium was nearly 9 years ago at this point.
Wild. All right, here we go. We got some attacks on the front of this field, and we're looking around. These boys are here to race. Parks Law Firm out of Texas making their way up. Keegan Hornblow from New Zealand keeping an eye on everything here.
It's Dempsey Cifuentes from the Parks Law Firm squad, kind of a smaller West Coast-based team, but they do a lot of great racing out in California. Great to have them join us out here and putting their mark on the front of the race right now as things continue to remain stretched out. As you see rider after rider starting to give in to the pace a little bit. One of the youngsters from the, I believe that looks like maybe one of the youngsters from Legion. They've got a couple Belizean youngsters here who are dipping their toes into criterium racing, pulling off the course down there.
Field sticking all together primarily right now. So we've had a lot of great action in this race so far. Big speeds, we started with 144. Big groups are being pulled off right now, though. Dante Young, unfortunately, one of those riders who made the trip from California to be with us here today, being pulled and placed from the field. Meanwhile, back at the front of the race, Kelly Benefits having a very strong ride here.
That's Alexander Skopinich-Burgle for Kelly Benefits, the tall, lanky youngster. He had a great career as a junior, very good cyclocross rider. Now finding himself rolling off the front right now as it looks like a lot of the foundation riders, the whoosh riders, starting to assemble at the front. You see a lot of looking around, everyone trying to figure out how they want to play this tactic right now.
Stolinas making sure nobody gets lost at the back there. With my buddy Chris Tolley making the trip up from Austin, Texas. Chris Tolley is the race promoter for the Driveway Series down in Austin, Texas. He puts on 32 weeks of the Driveway Series every year, and Austin is so lucky to have that race opportunity thanks to him. So
yeah, that's an amazing series. It's probably the biggest weeknight training race series in the U.S. The numbers they get are phenomenal. I mean, most weeknight races, it's just kind of set up some cones in a parking lot. Maybe you pay a few bucks and you get down to business and get training in. They've got like full-on branding around the course at that series. They've got a finish line truss. They break it out every week for just this weeknight training race where there's not a lot at stake except a lot of pride.
Yeah. Tolley is doing an amazing amount of work down in Austin, and he's now the president of the Texas Cycling Association. So, yeah, they're pretty lucky to have a promoter like that. We're lucky to have him join us. He's taking notes while he's here in Easton.
So our two riders still working a little bit of an advantage here. Looking back, Alexander Skopinich-Burgle looking for a little help from the crowd there to build some motivation. But I'll tell you what, the chase is on full gas right now, as that looked like Stephen Cousy from the Mid-Atlantic Union out of Riverton, New Jersey, getting on the gas down there. Stephen getting back to bike racing after a little time away. I got to speak to him briefly last weekend at Wilmington, and he was absolutely ecstatic to be back at it, and he had such a great race in Wilmington. He led many, many laps of that criterium, still got in the mix in the end, and well, most importantly, he's just having a good time out there and maybe playing spoiler a little bit to some of these other major teams.
Big thanks to GEDP for putting on today and helping, allowing us to play bikes in the streets here of Easton, Pennsylvania. GEDP puts on all of the festivals here in downtown Easton, including Bacon Fest and the Heritage Festival, two of the largest festivals in Pennsylvania. So big thanks to the Greater Easton Development Partnership for making today possible, and go support them. Make a donation by scanning the QR code on the Jumbotron down in Center Square to help allow us to keep doing the things that we do here today for the Easton Crit.
Well, everything back together. We're just crossing over the 20-minute mark right now as we're seeing another rider getting on the front. That's going to be another one of our Kelly Benefit youngsters, a fine young development team. That, of course, Brendan Lugongo from Santa Barbara, California, riding for the Kelly Benefits Elite under 23 squad. That squad based out of the Mid-Atlantic area, down Maryland, D.C. area. Their director, Nima Ebrahimnejad, I saw him floating around out here earlier today. Nima, a former top-level Masters rider and a former Olympian for his native Iran. He's here directing the squad, and they've got one of the best squads out on the circuit, and they're a young team that while they're trying to gain experience, they're not afraid to go punch for punch with some of the bigger teams, and we've seen them nail down some very, very big wins. And of course, they've got Alejandro Cho on the team, or Alejandro Chi, pardon me, who is a former junior national criterium champion who's got a good bit of speed in his legs. We expect to see a little something out of Alejandro later tonight. But I think for the moment, Gabe, we've got some preams to do, so why don't we start ringing that bell and throwing a little bit of cold, hard cash out here in our pro men here tonight.
We got BSI Corporations helping us out here, and we're going to ring the bell for a $50 pream on the next lap. $50 pream from BSI.
Attention riders, $50, $50 cash pream to the winner of the lap. $50 to the winner of the lap, courtesy of our friends at BSI Corporate Benefits. $50.
So if you're just joining us, or maybe you're over at the skate competition and now you've come back on over to watch the pro men's race, the preams are intermediate sprints. First rider across the line will take the cash money home, and that result will have no impact upon their final scoring at the end of the bike race, no matter where they place on that final lap. This is simply a cash prize. First rider across the line, they get to keep that money no matter what. And so we got $50 on the line. Bill, how much will $50 influence the dynamic of our race here?
Yeah, I think $50 this early. Obviously, there's going to be riders that want to go for it. They want to get as much money as they can at this bike race. I don't know that it's going to be a pivotal moment. I think the riders that are on the front are certainly going to go for that sprint a little bit, but we're not going to see a lot of riders coming from 10, 20 wheels back. They're just going to kind of see how things unfold as one of our New Zealand whoosh riders comes on through. Alejandro Chi looked like he's coming through in second wheel. We just mentioned his pedigree as a sprinter, so it looks like Chi is going to come through for Kelly Benefits. He's going to pocket that $50. That's actually Tawfiq Bashir, pardon me. So Tawfiq Bashir, the young man out of Ethiopia, riding for the Kelly Benefit squad, going to grab that first $50.
Tawfiq is so good. He's had such a great cross season, really driving his tempo. So Tawfiq Bashir getting that preem for Kelly Benefit Strategies on that last time through. George Jackson was the rider on his wheel, number 7. And so those two are in good company with each other.
So I'll tell you what, the Whoosh New Zealand guys, they just got into the U.S. a few days ago. Their first bike race on U.S. soil was yesterday at the Tour of Plainfield, New Jersey, which doubled as the New Jersey State Criterium Championships. They ran to the podium. That means they got 1, 2, and 3. So a great way to start their U.S. campaign. But you have to wonder if a little bit of stiffer competition here, maybe some of that jet lag coming all the way from New Zealand, going to start to catch up with them a little bit. But they're a very, very aggressive team. Yesterday they won from a breakaway by just kind of dominating the numbers into that breakaway. So that's generally going to be their tactical move at every race. They're very, very aggressive. They like to force the pace. And just like that, they're getting on it right now as we're looking at George Jackson continuing to apply a little bit of pressure. And Gabe, there's a little bit of a stalemate a few wheels behind. This might have the opportunity to morph into something significant.
I like to see George being very aggressive here. He's trying to capitalize upon some of the American tactics that are being displayed here. Like right now, we've got Lucas Burgoyne and Corey Williams hanging out together in the sort of mid-back of the field, relying exclusively on the idea that this race will come down to a field split. Meanwhile, George and the NZ boys are trying to really drive that pace and force a split.
Yeah, so the big question on the heels of that is, you know, we talked about the foundation team out of New York. They're in the red jersey with the white sleeve. And of course, Lucas Burgoyne, he's the rider in the national championship kit. The rest of his Cadence Cyclery teammates are in a grayish kit. Now, Foundation, they ride very aggressively as well. They don't really care if it's a field sprint or a breakaway. They've got options to win from just about any opportunity. Now, you come to Cadence, they're definitely more of a field sprint oriented team. So I think the way the results have gone all year long, they've been on the short end of the stick a few times. So I think Danny Summerhill up here in this move, I don't think he's going to contribute right now. He wants to bring this back to a field sprint. You saw that head nod from Foundation. They're thinking the same thing.
George is so frustrated right now. Like when George is like literally looking backwards at you in the eyes and being like, come on, take a pull. And the guy's like, nah, like George is just going to double down.
Yeah, and you've got every major team represented on his wheel. You've got the Foundation squad. You've got Cadence, you've got Kelly Benefits, all the major players minus one or two teams. So to not get cooperation, George Jackson, yeah, he must be out of his mind because in theory, on paper, this should be a great move.
Yeah, he created the split that he wanted, it was looking for, except it was the wrong person from Foundation. Now you swap that out with Brian Gomez or Marcos Mendez, and you know, then you're gonna get some cooperation. But this particular rider not willing to do the work, so there it is. It's going to get reabsorbed because you need full cooperation at this point with this speed of a field.
Well, I have no doubt once they get reabsorbed that the Whoosh New Zealand boys are going to get on the gas yet again, as we've seen the catch happen now. And just like that, there goes, I believe that's going to be Hornblow. Keegan Hornblow now on the front, taking another Foundation rider for a ride. So, you know, traditionally Foundation, they're willing to work in almost any breakaway. They're willing to ride. I'm not sure if they're willing to do it right now, as that's going to be Brian Gomez again following the wheel. But Luke Fetzer, last night's winner in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, is now on the front driving the pace. And Gabe, that tells us that they are trying to go all in for Lucas Burgoyne. If Luke Fetzer, last night's race winner all the way down in Winston-Salem, is on the front this early doing work, that means they're putting all their cards in Lucas Burgoyne tonight.
We got a question on our YouTube channel. How long is this race?
Well, we are racing for 75 minutes, same as the women. So it's an hour, 15 minutes. We're not quite 30 minutes in, so we've still got a good 45 minutes yet to go. So relatively speaking, we are still early in our 75-minute affair.
There you go. Hopefully that answers your question. Thank you guys for tuning in on the YouTube. Drop some comments, drop in your questions. Our live stream being brought to you from a local crew here in Easton. So big thanks to our Easton crew for putting on this live stream.
Starting to see a little more activity off the front. Some groups starting to get a little more daylight. We've got two riders, followed by about six. So right now we've got two going up the road. That is going to be Keegan Hornblow, and that looks like it's also going to be Baker Donahue from the Big Hit Racing Squad out of Brooklyn, New York. So a smaller team out of New York. Baker Donahue with not a lot of national level experience, dipping his toes into the ring with the big boys here tonight.
That's great to see, yes. We got teams from all over the U.S. Yes, we do have the Bike Works presented by Fred Bean's team in the mix here tonight. And somebody says, "You're the best announcer ever, Bill." There you go. That's YouTube for you. Clearly no quality in that content.
Yeah, I didn't know my wife knew how to use YouTube. I'll be darned. She's the only one who might say that. YouTube, whatever.
Here we go. Thanks for tuning in anyways. And we got a great crowd out here in the streets of Easton as well. Thank you all for joining us here in living color, as we'd like to say. We got a great crew. We've put in a lot of effort to make sure that you all are having a great time. Just be sure to stick around for our block party celebration after the racing here tonight.
Well, we've had a big chase group catch our 2 leaders. Look at the real estate now. We've got Fetzer in the mix, Noah Granigan from Legion. We've got Brian Gomez. We've got 2 riders from the Whoosh New Zealand crew in the mix. So a very promising breakaway, but Lucas Burgoyne not happy with the composure of that breakaway. Lucas Burgoyne, your national champion, trying to get up the road. They've been caught on the short end of the stick more than one time this year, so they don't want to get caught out again. Burgoyne, the 2024 champion here in Easton, he would love to be the first rider to bring home another win in the pro ranks, so he is trying to get across that break. He's got his teammate Luke Fetzer up there, so he knows he cannot leave Fetzer alone in that big of a group. Hey, Gabe, it looks like you've got your money bucket there. What's going on,
I do have my money
man?
bucket. We're doing money bucket again. We got some people asking me to give me money, and I can't say no to that. So we do crowd preams here. Who's got some money for available for my bucket? We have a little bit of money left over from the last time I came out into the street. So I'll be out as soon as it's safe to do so. Another split here at the front, Bill.
Alexander Skopinich-Burgle driving it. We've got Baker Donahue. We've got Keegan Hornblow, Luke Fetzer, Brian Gomez. And it looks like one more rider from Legion potentially going across. The field absolutely on fire. They do not want to let this one go. Lucas Burgoyne, who had tried to go across, has now simply ignited the full-on chase, and that may well have been his intention, just to draw out some other riders to do the rest of the dirty work. So we'll see how that unfolds. In the meantime, we've got this guy running around the middle of the race course here with a pretzel jar that he would love to have filled up with cash. Hey, Strickland, come on, man. Don't be shy. I know you got money in your wallet. Give Gabe a little cash. Come on, folks, fill up that cash jar. We want to give our pro men a handy little preem out there. There you go. Crystal's going to get some money out. There we go. Attaboy, Jared. I'll put in the good word. Maybe you'll get a raise. Make up for that cash you just handed out. All right, our man Gabe Lloyd walking up the middle of the road. He's going to have to dodge our pace car, courtesy of Brown Dobb. They're coming up the stretch here as our riders coming around. We're 32 minutes in. Everything starting to blow apart right now as that looks like it's going to be Baker Donahue back on the front. And I'll tell you what, it looks like the Whoosh riders, you can see them giving the little signal to his teammate to potentially shut that break down. The breakaway has gotten a little bit too big. So the riders from New Zealand, despite having 2 or 3 riders in that group, they're not liking the formation. They're not liking the lack of cohesion. So it looked like maybe George Jackson, I believe, given the signal to Keegan Hornblow that they should shut this one down, try and reset, try and roll the dice again, and get a slightly more conducive group size out there. In an ideal world, the breakaway you're going to want is going to be 3, 4, maybe 5 guys, because this is such a fast course. 4 or 5 guys, really the optimum number, because everybody can take their 5 or 10 second pull on the front at near maximum speed. They'll swing off, go to the back of the group and draft. And if you've got another 4 riders that are each pulling anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds, you've got that opportunity to get 20, 30, maybe 40 seconds of recovery before you go back to the front again. And that works out relatively well for the riders and the way they train, kind of these on-off style intervals to be able to go really hard for a few seconds, recover, and do it again and again and again. But this course is so fast that just 2 riders probably not going to be able to make it stick because the speeds are so high out here to stay away. So far, a lot of our riding action is happening at the back of the group. A lot of riders getting thinned out from this group. We started with 144 riders. We had that unfortunate crash right off the start line, so 143 once we got to that restart there. And I got to tell you, I don't know that we've got 100 riders left. I would gamble that more than 40 riders have already pulled off the course and called it a day. But these riders at the front, they know that they're very quickly coming up on the second half of this race. So the opportunity to try and make another successful bid for a breakaway is starting to present itself just a little bit right now. You can see the fatigue starting to set in with a lot of these riders. You look at that body language. The shoulders start to drop, the head drops, the pedaling style gets a little unsightly, I guess is the best way to put it. It's not smooth. They're kind of rocking all around the bike, and those are the tells that that fatigue is really starting to take a grip. Gabe, what do you got in there, man? That looks like a lot of cash.
I got at least another 200 bucks in here. So yeah, we got some generosity floating out there. Thank you guys so much for your support here at the Easton Crit. I'm gonna do one last run, and then we're gonna be...
There we go, right
All
across.
right.
This guy's got some cold hard cash. Come on, who down the street towards 2nd Street has some money? Y'all gotta have some cash.
Pre-money, Keith, come on, Keith. Hi, VMB.
There we go, that's the way. Keep that bucket going. We want to offer our pro men an equally wonderful preem like we did for our women with that crowd preem with 2 to go. Come on, folks, my man Gabe is down there near 2nd Street. Hook him up, he's that lunatic in the middle of the road running around. There we go, come on, a little bit more before that vehicle overtakes him. We are just about to that halfway point of the race, 37 minutes done. And we've got the Whoosh New Zealand guys making another move. Big George Jackson feeling very good out there. The good guys at New York City squad trying to get in on the mix as well. That looked like it was going to be maybe Frederick Borner from that New York squad. We'll try and identify that rider as he goes through. But the good guys, New York City squad, with a wonderfully stacked team, and they put on a great show just Friday night at the Snickle Fritz Points Race Criterium over at the Bob Rodale Fitness Park across from the Lehigh Valley Velodrome, the Valley Preferred Cycling Center there in Drexler Downs. We'll see if they can't put on an equally impressive showing out here tonight as they're starting to put some riders in the mix. And down on Larry Holmes Drive, you can see another little bit of separation, and maybe more importantly on the front of the field, you see more of our Whoosh New Zealand riders at the front with the intention now of trying to slow down that chase just a little bit. And we said it during the women's race, bike racing at this level is every bit the team sport. Individuals, well, you can be successful. You've got to be head and shoulders stronger than the rest to have a high degree of success. It really takes a team to make it work out here. So all these riders in the front, they've all got teammates in the back there trying to help slow things down. So George Jackson in there, Sebastian Brennis, it looks like Brian Gomez, Luke Fetzer again, on the cover, while Noah Granigan from the Legion of Los Angeles, he's one of our big favorites for tomorrow's 81st running of the Tour of Somerville. He is up there representing the Legion of Los Angeles, trying to bring things back together. Remember, our Legion of Los Angeles squad, we pulled 2 of those riders to the front couple of spots during our call-ups. The reigning Belizean National Road Champion, Corey Williams, and his brother, the co-founder of the Legion of Los Angeles squad, Justin Williams, a multiple-time Belizean National Champion. Both those riders, a couple of the fastest sprinters in the country. It wasn't too long ago that Justin won both the National Road and Criterium Championship in the very same year. That's a feat that doesn't happen all that often. We had a rider do it a couple years ago, but probably only about 3 or 4 riders in my memory have pulled that off. I think Danny Estevez has done it, who's now since retired, Justin Williams, and 1 or 2 other riders. So those riders have a lot of speed in their legs back there representing Legion. So Noah Granigan punching the clock, going to work, trying to keep this group together.
Oh man, look at this. I'm tired, you guys. You had me running all over the place, but we raised a few $100 more for your for our crowd pream. So thank you guys very much for making that possible. All right, our boys are getting themselves settled in. I was down in neutral pit. The team directors down there are happy with this pace. They're happy with the rhythm of the race now. Obviously, when you first start a really big race like this, you're going to have some jitters. You're going to have a lot of sort of argy-bargy that we obviously witnessed to when they're coming in and out of the pit multiple times early on. Now we're settled in. Now we're happy. We're finding our rhythm. Sort of pecking order is established. Clearly, Whoosh is being very aggressive, and that's awesome. But we're sort of seeing some other teams relying upon that now, right? Like allowing Whoosh to do a lot of work, hopefully tiring themselves out.
Yeah, kind of to your point, you know, Whoosh was doing a lot of work early, and not really with the intention of establishing a breakaway, but just thinning the herd a little bit, making the race a little more easy to control when it comes to the later stages of the race. So they're a bigger team. They know they can sacrifice probably 2 riders to do a lot of that work early to thin things out, to make it easier for their team leaders later in the race, because there's less bodies to contend with. Some of the faster riders, their leg speed has now been sapped a little bit. So all part of the tactical plan. But now that we're into the second half of the race, this is when things are going to get dicey. That's going to be Sebastian Brennis from the Good Guys at New York City squad, a very, very fast finisher going on the front. He's got that big hit racing rider, Baker Donahue, along again. And Donahue, you know, a name that I'm familiar with because he's out of the New York City area, but certainly in these bigger crits, you know, he's maybe swinging for the fences a little bit here with the big boys.
New York City has such an interesting, like, deep scene here. Oh, thank you very much, sir. We got another preem coming up to the stage. Oh, from the tobacco store. All right, awesome. Jack's Tobacco and Beer Outlet, giving us $50 for the crowd preem.
I like it. Cash money, baby. Everyone contributing to the cause. We give them a big hand, so a big shout out to our friends right behind us here, Jack's Tobacco and Beer Outlet, throwing a little more cash into the kitty.
Yeah. So what are we doing here?
We did this one.
We got to get through. Yeah.
That's all right. We got time.
Oh, 26 laps? Look at this. We got 26 laps to go here now. We got a break. Let's shake things up.
Hey, attention riders, we've got a preem, $75. $75 preem to the winner of the lap, $75. This courtesy of our friends at Lehigh Valley Health Network, $75 on the line to the winner of the lap. So everything all back together. Sebastian Brennis taking a look around and trying to look for a little bit of help. A failed breakaway attempt, but he's just lounging back at the front. So we'll see if he's got anything in the legs to go for that $75 preem. But I'll tell you what, with every passing lap, these attacks are going to get more dangerous and more dangerous. You know, we talk so much about these riders getting physically fatigued, but the mental fatigue in a bike race like this is a real thing. You know, you're trying to fight for position. You're jockeying with all the guys around you. You're trying to set up and take the right line, and every one of these 6 corners out here, and it takes a toll on even the best riders. So not only that physical aspect into the second half of the race, but you start to let your guard down a little bit. You start to not think 1 or 2 steps ahead, because you have to, right? Like everything coming at you at 30, 31 miles an hour, you can't think in the moment or you're behind the 8 ball. And once that fatigue mentally sets in, you're going to get into a little bit of trouble, and that's just another way that these breakaways can have a higher chance for success.
24 laps to go now, and everything Bill just said is 100% on the nose here. Tofik Bashir coming off the front end. Tofik is going to get that $75 pream from LVHN. It's a nice job, Tofik, for grabbing that. He rides for Kelly Benefit Strategies. We're counting some of our preem money here from the crowd. We got about 472 here, and then a little bit of change left from the last race as well. So I think we have some great options here for the men to finish out their night. We also have some other preams coming in from Tito's and Hindle. So big thanks to them for supporting our pro men's race here tonight. So we've got a lot of great opportunities here. At this point in the race, where are we at? 24 laps to go, 45 minutes in. Oh, we forgot it. Yes, and we have RMG Insurance and Pure Energy. Wow. All right, we gotta just start ringing this bell.
Yeah, we probably should ring the bell. We got more cash than we can handle up here to give away to our pro men just yet.
Okay, here we go. So we got Visit Pittsburgh on the front right now with Kelly Benefit Strategies right behind. Again, we're sort of settled in here for the moment. Let's unsettle it. What do you say? We're just going to start to see how we do over the next few laps, because right now the boys are really trying to protect their upper end here a little bit. They're trying really hard to make sure that they are saving themselves for the finish. And with that, we need to make sure that it's as hard as possible for them to save themselves for the finish.
That's pretty much our job up here on the podium, is to not just make the race exciting for the crowd, to throw lots of preams at these riders and make it as challenging as possible. As 3 riders now trying to roll their way off the front. I saw Skapinich Burgle, the tall, lanky New Englander riding for the Kelly Benefit Strategies team, on the front yet again. And I see my man Gabe reaching for the bell. That can only mean one thing. That means we're going to start ringing the bell. We're going to do our friends from Tito's. How about it?
Yeah, Tito's. Tito's over there. Oh, man, you guys drank them all out, huh? They're all gone. You drank all the Tito's, Theo. All right, well, here we go.
Attention riders, $100. $100 to the winner of the lap. $100 pream to the winner of the lap, courtesy of our friends at Tito's. Handmade vodka, so $100, courtesy of Tito's Vodka's former Athens Twilight winner, Clever Martinez, rolling through for the foundation squad up there.
Oh, Clever. Yes. Clever Martinez, such a great personality in our sport. Love to have him around, and great to see him racing with us. Clever was he's always been at the front of all of our races we've ever done, so love to have him here. He has done Easton about 3 times now, so he has got a lot of experience around these turns here, and he can lend a lot of that knowledge to the foundation team today.
Yeah, he knows this course very well. Clever been on the U.S. scene now for probably about 8 years. Started out on a regional Northern Jersey squad that's so notorious for bringing in a bunch of talent here. And Clever has won many of the major criteriums around the country. He's getting up there a little bit. He knows he's probably only got a couple years of high-level bike racing left in his legs, but he's been having a wonderful time doing a lot of the teamwork here for the foundation squad. But look at this, we got a great sprint to the line. That's going to be another one of our Whoosh New Zealand riders picking up $100 courtesy of our friends at Tito's. That looks like James Wilson out of Wellington, New Zealand, putting $100 in the account.
James Wilson, nicely done. So NZ Cycling boys, whoosh, NZ Cycling Project, getting themselves a little bit more gas money to drive themselves around. They were talking even about trying to go out to Tulsa after Armed Forces, so make a big road trip of it.
That's a lot of driving because they're doing it all in a passenger van if they're lucky. That's a long drive. I've driven out to Oklahoma before, and it's not a lot of fun. It's about 20 hours of some pretty brutal driving. But when you're from New Zealand and you're here for the summer in the U.S. to race bikes, that's what you do, right? You're not going to complain about driving a few hours to go make some cold, hard cash.
So these boys are racing right now for $100 courtesy of Tito's. We're gonna. Oh, we already did that one. So we're gonna do it again.
We didn't ring. All right, we're looking at 20 laps to go, 20 laps to go. The One Heart Racing squad out of, I believe, Kentucky, rolling on through, lighting things up.
Edibaldo Maldonado Reyes. You get digging deep to get ahead of that one. Looks like he was neutralized pretty quickly, though, even coming out of turn number 2. Oh, my bad. He is off the front. He's got a teammate patrolling at the front behind him. That's good strategy there by One Heart, trying to really mark the front of the field and keep, potentially do what Automatic was doing in the Pro Women's race, just send one rider off and then giving some rest to their teammates behind.
Yeah, One Heart Racing, they've really upped their game with both their men's and their women's program this year, and the women have been riding phenomenal. They've been on the podium a number of times throughout the season so far, and the men have been rising to the occasion as well. And this is the first time we've seen a little bit of activity from their squad. It looks like
Keegan Hornblow.
Hornblow, yeah, drop chain there on Larry Holmes Drive. So unfortunate there for Keegan Hornblow. An odd place to have a little bit of a mechanical, as we've got a couple of riders starting to move their way off the front. So 4 riders followed by 2 and the rest of the field. So who are we doing? Okay.
All right, so we got Wilson on the front right now as part of it. And then we got it looks like some of our foundation team patrolling up near the front as well. You're gonna stand over here. There we go. All right, it's a heavy one.
Which one are we doing?
RMG, $100.
Oh, we still got lots of time left in this race. We're only about 52 minutes in. We've got about 19 laps to go. Remember, we are shooting for about 75 minutes of race time. That is the ultimate goal here, and our crew of USA Cycling officials doing a wonderful job taking those average lap times, so getting us as close as possible to that hour 15. Who knows, maybe they'll get a bonus minute or two. I don't think any of the riders are going to complain out here. It's turning into a pretty wonderful night here in downtown Easton for the 6th annual Easton Criterium presented by our friends at Lehigh Valley Health Network. But in the meantime, we are going to ring the bell. We've got another preem. Attention riders, $100. $100 to the winner of the lap. $100 courtesy of RMG Insurance to the winner of the lap.
So we got a group of 5 off the front right now as they come up and around. Nice to see that separations occurring. These boys look pretty comfortable with it. Keegan Hornblow knows that he's a lap down, so he's not going to work with that. Thank you, RMG, for that. Excellent bell ringing. Thank you, RMG. Appreciate your support.
So Hornblow should be eligible. He took the 3 laps. He should be putting back his brake. They didn't put, okay. Yeah, so he should be in the field, I guess. But.
All right, so Hornblow did go to the pit, neutral pit. He was put back in, but he was put into the breakaway by mistake. He knew that was a mistake, so he's going back to the field. As soon as the field makes contact with him, then Keegan will start to ride again. So that's a good, honorable move there by Keegan. He was put into the breakaway when he was not actually part of it. There we go. So looking at our breakaway right now, we got good representation. We got the Rockland Devo program. We have Foundation. We got Whoosh. We've got Team Cadence.
Summerhill.
It's Danny Summerhill in this move. My goodness, Danny Summerhill, the man that does not age, is still out there. And here we go, $100 for RMG Insurance. Donaghy.
So Baker Donahue from that CRCA Big Hit Squad, as we now see George Jackson and Marcos Mendez trying to get across. So now the field realizes the danger. Every major team is now represented up the road. You've got One Heart, you've got Foundation, you've got the Cadence Cyclery Squad, you've got some of the underdogs like Baker Donahue from Big Hit Racing, and you've got Alexander Skopinich-Burgle from Kelly Benefits.
You said he was a cyclocross racer?
Yes, Skopinich-Burgle, he's a very good racer in general, but cyclocross, very, very good at. And interestingly, Danny Summerhill, rider number 72, back in 2007, he was a silver medalist at the Junior World Cyclocross Championship. So those riders, both very experienced on-road and off-road. So this breakaway getting a good bit of traction right now. So could this be a defining moment? We're creeping up on the 1 hour mark, and we've got the first substantial breakaway of the day. They're now on Northampton Street. Hey, Easton, let's do a practice run of making a little bit of noise for these riders. They're going to be looking at 16 to go. Come on, Easton. This is your breakaway, 16 to go.
Summerhill in that move, looking very comfortable in that move. We're also looking at Edebaldo Maldonado Reyes, who started this, but Whoosh is in there. But Foundation may be coming off of the move. That will actually not be good for the breakaway if Foundation comes off the back of it.
Well, Foundation's Brian Gomez is that rider trying to chase across the gap. Gomez has picked up a couple of big wins this year. Most notably, he picked up one just a few nights ago, Friday night in Winston-Salem on that criterion. So it looks like he's tagged on to the back of that group right now. So now Foundation's got 2 riders in that group, and that's raised the alarm bells for the rest of the field. You can see Whoosh, New Zealand, not liking the formation all of a sudden.
And once you add Brian Gomez to a mix, almost regardless of what team he's on, you gotta cover that one. So you can see the teams all responding aggressively now that Gomez has made that move. Brian's just always been such a powerhouse, so everybody knows that in this field. And that could actually be the end of the success of this, actually, ironically enough.
Yeah, well, that's what happens, right? One too many riders get across, and you know, Gomez is such a prolific race winner this year that nobody wants to let him get away. They've seen that story too many times, and just like that, we're back together. Sebastian Brennis helping pull things back together. Bobby Lee up there in the mix, the 3-time Olympian out of Mertztown, Pennsylvania, keeping himself very, very well positioned at the front as well.
Had some questions on the chat about Lucas Burgoyne. He is in the field. He's looking very comfortable, just sort of hanging out sort of towards the rear third of the field, so no stress for him. That's Clever Martinez on the screen right now, though. Great to see Clever for Foundation having a good ride here today, looking very comfortable.
Yeah, so I think what we had up there with Danny Summerhill, the lone Cadence cyclery rider presented by Waldo Racing, he was only covering that break, right? Like, he was not going to contribute for a number of reasons. Number one, there's too many riders. If he's with 2 other riders and he can at least get on the podium, then it might be a little more acceptable to work and roll the dice. But with 8, 9 riders and only 1 from his team, it's way too much of a gamble, especially when they have one of the fastest sprinters back in the field. So he was was in a cover and kill maneuver up in that breakaway, and it's worked. It's now come back together, so they're going to have to pay attention and play their cards once again. But we are going to ring the bell yet again. We've got another bit of cash burning a hole in our pocket. So, hey, Easton, how about it? While you make some noise, we're going to ring the bell. $100 pream. $100 pream. $100 courtesy of Pure Energy Bike Shop in Lambertville, New Jersey, to the winner of the lap. And we saw Justin Williams for the first time today riding for Legion of Los Angeles.
Justin Williams making this selection here, just covering something floating early. He knows that we're in a weird part of this race where sometimes these little moves can just go because the big teams think that they've got the control that maybe they don't, and Justin's really good at reading. He can see that there's we're 5 wide in the field as riders are trying to recover. Marcos Mendez, I think, trying to bridge across. Oh, it's Jordan Parra trying to bridge across to it. Ah, yes, white shoes of Jordan Parra. There we go. That's fashionista right here, Bill.
Yeah, that's the only way we've been able to tell him apart from Marcos Mendez all year. They have such a similar body style and body size on the bike, but yeah, Jordan Parra generally wearing those white shoes on the foundation team, and he's another rider. He's got to win for that team this year, so he's just another one in their arsenal that they've other riders can't let get off the road because he's very capable of winning. It looks like Luke Fetzer from Cadence Cyclery in second position there as well. And again, Sam, I want to say that this is going to be a cover and kill for the Cadence Cyclery squad.
See what happens here. Who's going to get this $100 from Pure Energy Cycles out of Lambertville? It's going to be Marco Mendez. Marco Mendez getting that $100.
So Sam Smith, the Cadence Cyclery rider, covering that breakaway. So Sam Smith out of Doylestown, Pennsylvania, has only got a couple races under his belt this year, but already punching the clock and getting down to work. And it's all hands on deck right now, I think, for Lucas Burgoyne. So he's got all his teammates. He's got Luke Fetzer covering moves and killing them. He's now got Sam Smith covering and killing moves. He's also got Danny Summerhill covering some moves out there as well, as we see Mendez continuing to drive this. So Mendez, Justin Williams, and Sam Smith still getting a little bit of a gas. So Sam Smith in the gray, he's going to be a passenger on that bus. I don't think he's going to contribute at all. Justin Williams from the Legion of Los Angeles, he's probably going to like his odds out here. He's got his brother Corey wearing the Belizean National Championship kit back in the field. He's also got Noah Granigan back in the field, but this is as good as an opportunity as any for the Legion of Los Angeles squad. So I suspect that Justin Williams might try and commit, but well, just like that, everyone's going to be all back together again. So I'm a little surprised that we can't break this stranglehold here. We've seen a lot of promising breakaway attempts, but absolutely nothing getting a whole lot of traction.
So Dempsey Cifuentes on that last time through, putting in a big dig for the Parks Law Firm as they try and reanimate the front of the field. We're seeing this over and over, this little hesitation. It's not even hesitation, it's just pure up fatigue at this point. This has been a hard race, you know, and this is a hard course.
Yeah, this is a very hard course. Most people, when they think of a traditional criterium, you know, it's anywhere from a half mile to a mile around. 4 corners, usually fairly flat. Anything outside of that with 5 or 6 turns or with a little elevation or both of those factors mixed in, well, then it becomes a very technical course and a very hard course because you've got that mental component we talked about of trying to be well positioned for all these corners. And then, of course, the physical part of where you're putting out so many watts every lap up this home straight. You know, if you were to look at the power meter on some of these riders, it's probably 700-800 watts every single time out of that turn up here through the home straight before it levels out.
Yeah.
And that's a big, big acceleration.
Big day, big power for all these riders. They're just trying to even stay at the front of this field. So as we are getting down to 11 laps to go, 11 laps remaining on today's race. Looks like it's your cyclocross boy at the front right now with Whoosh covering that up at the front.
You see sitting back there in third wheel, Bobby Lee surfing wheels pretty well near the front. as we see Skopinich-Bergel swing off, visit Pittsburgh, not really wanting to pull through on the pace. Again, that's a pretty well-developed regional team out of the Western PA side, and they travel out this way an awful lot to hit a lot of these big criteriums. And the last few years, riders like Frank Taberzi, Dan Uranowski have posted some very, very good results out here. So certainly no strangers to success.
Foundation trying their hand at a little bit of an inverse lead out, but we'll see if this survives. Foundation has a very deep squad. I think they fielded like 12 guys in this race this year, which made us think a little bit about team limitations
right.
in the future.
You never think about it until you have to think about it due to something like that.
Yeah, I think when you first start a race, you're like, we just want everybody, dude, I don't care. And now you're like, 12 is a bit much. So anyways, they're here and they've got a lot. So we're gonna sort of seeing the depth in field here that they've been able to bring. It's great to see. Visit Pittsburgh though, one more time, covering these moves. Love to see it.
We're now on 10 laps to go, so 10 to go. Not quite down to that single-digit point yet, but we are inching our way there, Easton. 10 to go for your Pro 1-2 men. 10 laps to go. We're starting to get to that point of the race where we talked about with the women, where the idea of a breakaway, the hopes of that are starting to dwindle just a little bit, right? Like, who's going to make that move now? Because the closer you get to the finish, you've got all those fast riders like Burgoyne, like Marcos Mendez, like Sebastian Brenes from the Good Guys New York City squad that are starting to think about that sprint finish, starting to eyeball position. Their teammates are starting to come to the fore and help them out. So when is that last opportunity for the breakaway? You cannot ride backwards on the course.
So we have some riders riding backwards on the course here.
Looks like a little bit of a mishap somewhere there in turn 1 or turn 2. A whole host of riders coming back here riding to the pit.
Noah Granigan involved in that. So Granigan going out of the course over in turn number 1, notably, but a number of riders going down in turn number 1. Keegan Hornblow looks like he was part of the Davey Dawson part of that as well. So a number of riders know they need to get back to the pit because the pit closes at 5 to go. Riders at the front right now. So we had a very comfortable pace here, and then we just had a little bit of a touch of wheels in turn 1 that last time through, and that has greatly reduced our field size as riders are trying to get themselves back into the pit. Pit riders do have a reasonable amount of time to get to the pit, but they do have to be there before it closes at 5 to go.
Yeah, that was a big scrum of riders making their way to the pit again. You know, they could have cut across the course or ridden around and still gotten to the pit in time to take that free lap. So our officials, they're now getting inundated with even more riders. Looks like we got about 15, maybe 20 riders in that pit. Starting to see our man Lucas Burgoyne put himself a little bit closer to the front down there on Larry Holmes Drive as nobody's on the attack. Foundation right on the front. One of the whoosh riders just sneaking by on the fencing. When the riders come around the turn, we are going to remind the field to please stay to the right because there's going to be a whole host of riders trying to reintegrate. We want to try and keep the chaos to a bare minimum down here in the pit. So we're going to give those riders the warning here to make sure that they stay all the way to the right. Attention field, stay to the right. Stay to the right, stay to the right, stay to the right. We've got a whole group coming out of the pit reintegrating. Well, here we go. Everybody coming back out. Alec Ratzel getting back into the mix there. One of the locals from out, Alex, originally from Blandon, PA, now living over in Hellertown, riding for that Good Guys at New York City squad. Still a few riders to come out there, so everybody back in the race. The riders were seeing 8 laps to go that time. I believe we're going to have, I think we're going to be down to just 1 preem. Actually, we've got 2 preems left for our men. So we've still got a little time. I'm comfortable waiting it out just a little bit more for the final two preams for our pro men here. I'll tell you what, you guys and girls, you've been a wonderful crowd all day here in Easton. I know it was a little rainy and a little suspect early in the day, but we're so thankful that all of you came out to enjoy the day. It's not picture perfect now, a little cool, but the rain is gone. It's kind of not a bad night here on the heels of Memorial Day 2026, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to remind you that bike racing here in Easton is a crowd participation sport. We want you guys and girls to start making a whole lot of noise for these riders, because we are slowly getting down to the business end of this race. We are on 7 laps to go, 7 to go. Riders Keegan Hornblow going to lead the crew through here on 7 laps to go. We are at 1:09 on the clock. We've still got 2 preams, so we are going to ring the bell, I think, on the next time through for, what do we got here? We've got $200 courtesy of our friends at Hindle Power. Yeah, there we go. I know Nick's over there somewhere getting his drink on at the VIP area. My man Nick Hindle, been a great contributor to the Easton Criterium, and I gotta say, Nick lives in one of the finest houses in Easton up there above at Nevin Park, getting a full makeover, and it's gonna be glorious when it's all done here in a few months' time. Yeah, we're doing Hindle for 200.
All right, cool. And then this 736 for Gambler or something?
472.
736 between the two of them.
Oh shit, oh dear God. Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, because we didn't give it all to the girls.
All right, here comes our main field. They're going to be looking at 6 laps to go. Easton, we're going to keep practicing so that on the final lap, you can make a ton of noise later. Attention riders, $200, $200 preem, $200 preem to the winner of the lap, courtesy of our friends at Hindle Power. $200, courtesy of Hindle Power. Oh my, this is going to be a great one as they do battle here. $200 late in the race. There's a lot of riders, especially the breakaway riders, that have tried their hand to no success. They might not want to mix it up in a big wild field sprint, so this is their opportunity to maybe get a little bit of cash to take home.
Yeah, if they're not liking their shot at an overall later on, this is their opportunity to actually get something for real. So let's see what they can do. Nice overhead shot here by Ron Short as part of our live stream. Fetzer and Hornblow. Got some foundation up at the front. We have whoosh at the front, 3 whooshes at the front right now. All trying to work together, being led by Keegan Hornblow, your New Zealand national champion. But also Lucas Burgoyne getting himself up in there in the mix as well, about 5th wheel.
Well, it looks like Keegan Hornblow, your reigning New Zealand National Criterium champion, going to lead them through the final turn. Remember, folks, we've got $200 on the line to the winner of this lap, courtesy of Hindle Power. Who is going to grab it? Keegan Hornblow going to come right through. Brian Gomez on the wheel, followed by George and Jackson. I'll tell you what, I'm looking at Brian Gomez out there. These guys have field sprint on their mind right now, so we are going to be treated to such a great finale. They're going to be looking at 5 to go next time through. We're going to be a shade over that hour and 15-minute mark, but hey, I don't think anyone is going to complain. It's wonderful racing out here tonight in the streets of downtown Easton, and I'll tell you what a way to start to slowly wrap our 6th edition of the Criterium.
And the 6th edition, we got a block party as our after party here today. The Skorts are playing over on the main stage right now. So at the end of this race, head on over and watch the Skorts, and then Snack Time will be playing after that. So head on over to our main stage and check out the after party. It's the 300 block of Northampton. That's our block party here at the Easton Criterium. So stick around after the racing concludes and we do our podiums for our block party on the 300 block of Northampton.
All right, here comes our field. They're looking at 4 to go on the lap counter right now. Remember, Easton, every single lap from here to the finish, I want y'all banging on those boards. I want you making noise. 4 to go, 4 to go, 4 to go.
Nice job, Easton. Y'all are making a ton of noise, and we love to hear it as they dive through turn number 1 here. These riders really trying to drive this pace as Whoosh NZ Cycling Project are trying their best to control this from about 4 out. And that's a long way to go, but right behind them, you've got Foundation, and you can see Lucas Burgoyne in the U.S. National Championship kit trying to also float that lead out. It seems like the Cadence program unable to provide a full lead out for him. So we'll see how that shakes out.
Hey folks, don't forget, we're gonna ring the bell again. We've got one more preem. This is gonna be our crowd preem that you guys and girls have all donated to. We're gonna ring it on 2 to go, so not this time, but when they come through the next time, we will ring it, and you're gonna be astounded at the amount of cash you all raised here when we ring that bell. But right now it's 3 to go. Come on, Easton, bring your A game.
Here we go, Easton. We got 3 laps to go, 3 to go, and Luke Fetzer now on the front. This is going to be Cadence's approach to the lead out with Fetzer and Summerhill getting themselves up into position. You can see Fetzer on the front right now, Hornblow second wheel behind, and it looks like Wilson potentially or Presbury behind from NZ Cycling Project right there trying to protect that wheel, which means who are they sprinting for? Gonna be Marshall maybe or George. Any one of those boys could do it, honestly.
Yeah, that's the thing with the New Zealand squad. And the other thing, this is only their second race on U.S. soil, so the Foundation guys don't really know who to watch. The Cadence guys don't know who to watch, so that's going to really work in favor of our Whoosh and New Zealand squad out here. But right now, Luke Fetzer still laying everything on the line. He's got a couple more teammates to try and lead this out for his man, Lucas Burgoyne. Remember, Fetzer took a win last night, and he's doing the dirty work here right now.
It's wild, yeah. These boys know they want it, and they got a little bit of washing machine effect on the outside. Now here we go, though. We're going to make this thing even more chaos here.
Hey, Easton, remember that crowd preem you helped us with?
You got
$736. Attention, riders, $736 preem. $736 preem on the line.
Justin Williams moving himself up around on the outside. Williams now first wheel driving that pace. Keegan Hornbow looking to the right. He's like, okay, look at that as these boys are now driving full gas. And it is Justin Williams on the front with Marcos Mendez right behind him and one of our Whoosh riders in third position.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if Justin has any of his teammates. He's got his brother, Corey Williams, in a white kit representing his status as a reigning national champion of Belize. He's also got their tall, lanky rider out of Boulder, Colorado, Noah Granigan, who is a very capable rider as well. So Justin on the front driving this right now. I don't know where his teammate, his brother, is. He's swinging off. Marcos Mendez from Foundation, he's hesitating as well. Looks like George Jackson from the Whoosh New Zealand squad. It looks like we've got maybe Danny Summerhill or Luke Fetzer from Cadence in there as well. They're making the turn onto Northampton Street.
Who's going to get this $736 preem? It's going to be the Gambler's preem, because as we're going to be coming in to 1 lap to go.
Attention riders, 1 to go, 1 to go, 1 to go. 1 lap to go. Oh my word, what a final lap. You've got your reigning national champion Lucas Burgoyne up there. You've got Marcos Mendez. We've got Danny Summerhill, the Cadence teammate for Lucas Burgoyne. And Brian Gomez trying to get himself up there for Marco Mendez. They're now making that right turn into Sitgrave Street Alley. Gabe, who is going to take this one to the line?
This one's a lot of confusion right now. Mendez looking backwards. He just won the $736 pream on the Gambler's pream. Can he bring himself back into sprinting position?
They are down on Larry Holmes Drive. We've got the overhead view. Foundation leading out, but Danny Summerhill on the front right now. Danny Summerhill, Lucas Burgoyne, your reigning national champion in second spot. They are just about to make the final turn onto Northampton. There's your brown Dodge Jeep. There's Summerhill. There's Lucas Burgoyne. Gabe, bring him home.
Burgoyne, second wheel as they jump out of the final turn, up into the final lift, 100 meters to go. Burgoyne wants this one. Can he get there? But it's going to be Legion on the line. Legion of Los Angeles takes the race win here tonight with Jim Brown.
Well, big Jim Brown out of Great Britain. We forgot he was even out here today, taking a wonderful sprint victory there. So Jim Brown taking home all the marbles here in Easton.
Jim Brown, Big Jimmers, got himself into the mix there late, and my goodness, out kicking Lucas Burgoyne to the line. That was quite the sprint. I would love to see a replay of that. That was wild. Jim Brown taking the win. Lucas Burgoyne in second, and James Wilson of Whoosh NZ Cycling Project in third. Your unofficial top three.
What a wonderful finish here in Easton. Folks, don't go anywhere. We still have our pro men's podium, and we still got the after party right up the street, so you've got no reason to go home just yet. It might be Sunday, but tomorrow's another holiday. You don't go to punch the clock until 8 o'clock on Tuesday morning. So we're going to keep this party rolling here in Easton. So stay tuned as our podium presentation gets underway momentarily. Well, what a great finish. Let's make sure as our riders come through, we make a whole lot of noise. They put on a phenomenal show for the better part of 75 minutes out here, bringing world-class criterium racing right to downtown Easton, Pennsylvania. And I'll tell you what, you can see Corey Williams in the white jersey giving a big hug to his teammate Jim Brown there. Jim, all the way from Great Britain, taking a big sprint victory, sneaking up on the left side of the fencing to come home as your champion here in the Easton Criterium.
We're going to bring our winners up to the finish line for some post-race debriefs so that everybody gets to meet our champions here today and our podium finishers. Great race by everybody, though, as they come around. Hand-ups are not a crime after the race is over, right? So here we go. Let's see what we can do. The NZ boys having a good debrief already. My goodness. Mr. Wilson, where are you at?
Well, we'd love to get our
What's up,
top
Otis?
three riders over to the podium so we can get some interviews with them, get our podium presentation underway. So again, we are looking for Lucas Burgoyne, our silver medalist, and looking for our champion, Mr. Jim Brown, to please make their way over to the podium.
I'm with third place finisher tonight. Do you like James or Jim?
Medium.
Medium. All right, James Medium Wilson here. Mr. Wilson from New Zealand. You've been in the country about 2 days, so I got a little jet lag in the legs. How was that race for you here tonight?
Oh, you know, the race was really good. The atmosphere here in Easton tonight was incredible.
But yeah, the boys out there were racing hard all race. There was never really a lull moment, and yeah, it was really fun.
And walk us through that final sprint. It looked like it was well led out by some of the teams, including your own. You boys took it from kind of a long way out, 4 to go.
Yeah, you know, that was the plan. We have riders that can take it up. You know, Keegan, gold medal at the Hong Kong Nations Cup on the track. So yeah, we took it up, and it was pretty messy still, but no, it was really fun and really hard.
Yeah, well, you guys performed very well. You should be very happy. This is our third place finisher tonight, James Wilson from the Whoosh NZ Cycling Project. Congratulations, James. As part of my friend James Canny's program, James used to come over and race with us in T-Town, and now he sends his boys over. Jimmers, come on over, my man. This is your race winner here tonight, Mr. Jim Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Big Jim, my man, how does that feel right now on that final kick to the line? That was thrilling for me. I bet it was for you too.
Honestly, yeah, it was. I actually really didn't actually expect at all to win. I've just had kind of 4 weeks no racing, so come straight back in, and you know, like mentally to have it as well as physically, I was quite, you know, I'm pretty impressed with myself, to be fair.
We call that fresh, Jim. What do you call that?
Fucked maybe.
Fair enough. Walk us through the rest of that race. It looked like you boys were, from our impression, you were responding to things. Maybe not necessarily trying to control things.
Yeah, I think, like I said, you know, not many of us have raced for a while, so we didn't necessarily think that we had the gas to take it on, but we knew that come the finish, we've got some fast guys, so yeah, worked out, didn't it?
So we'll back up a little bit on that final lap. Were you, Justin did a big pull early, so did that leave you a little bit floating, or how did that play out?
Yeah, I did a big move to the front, 2 to go, and he saw that. But he was on the other side, so he saw that, got to the front, and made sure that I had an easy ride from 2 to 1, and then, yeah, it was all down to me on the last lap, and I picked the right wheel. You know, Lucas is kind of the guy to follow, I would say, so, you know, it's nice to come past him.
Fair enough. All right, Big Jim Brown, ladies and gentlemen, is winner here tonight at the Easton Criterium. Here with our U.S. national champion, second place here tonight, Lucas Burgoyne. Mr. Burgoyne, honored to have you here racing with us. Last year, it was also similarly tough for you here, but you seem to have rebound this year. You had a very strong ride here tonight, very composed ride, I would say. How'd you feel about that?
It was good. We came off of we literally finished a race at 9 o'clock last night in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We had our incredible mechanic, Big Rig Kyle, do a 9-hour overnight stint. We had 9 boys in our trailer. People were sleeping on the floor, bunk beds, on top of each other. We rolled in about 9 a.m. this morning. I think the team may have gotten a collective between all 6 of us 10 hours of sleep. So to come out here after a tough 2 days of wet and rainy racing, and then come to one of my favorite race weekends of the year and put up a podium was, you know, very, very solid performance, and happy with how we bounced back.
Ideal preparation is what we call that, right? Because you guys actually, all jokes aside, you got a win last night with Luke down in South Carolina, or North Carolina, now coming directly here. It's a big amount of travel in the legs. How do you guys actually recover from that amount of effort?
You don't. You just get out there, you pick them up, and you get the hell on with it. And that's what we did tonight. The boys rode absolutely incredible, protecting me. I probably got the most sleep out of all of us, and it's a course I've won on before, and so they came to me and they said, how do you feel? And I said, well, today, boys, I feel the lines, and if I feel the lines, it means it's going to be a half-decent day. And so hats off to them. Selfless riding from Danny, Greg, Sam Smith, Cesar, Luke Fetzer. So to back it up with another podium, now we got some business to do on the big day tomorrow. So
Fair enough, at the Tour of Somerville, yeah. And you have one here before. It was great to see that. Just walk me through that final sprint real quick, and then we'll jump to our podium.
It was aggressive. This is the most talented field of lead-out trains I feel like we've seen in a while, with a strong team from the Kiwi guys, a strong team from the South Americans with Foundation, Mido Q, Legion had a very good showing today, our team, and then the young team with Kelly Benefits. It was a dogfight up there, and it was really who could find the line and come out of that last corner in decent position, because I can speak for myself, and what it sounds like from Jim, it was a sprint on dead legs and who could just survive it the longest.
Fair enough. Lucas Burgoyne, ladies and gentlemen, your U.S. National Champion, second place here tonight in Easton Criterium. Congratulations.
Hey, Elliot, can you get the hat over the shelf over the top of the door?
We'll do that quick and then we'll jump right to it. So, very good. All right, don't go anywhere. We're going to jump to our podium presentation here. The boys need to get their presentation garb on, and then we will get them on the steps before we head on to the after party. The block party is here tonight. The block party will be over on the 300 block of Northampton. We've got the snack time racing with us, or playing music with us over there. So jump on over to our block party after party. Get snack time, delicious music.
Don't go too far, folks. We've still got our podium to get to into the middle of the road. Just waiting for our riders to get all cleaned up in their proper podium garb. Then my man Gabe's going to get that podium presentation underway to get things wrapped up here in downtown Easton for the 6th running of the Criterium. A huge thanks to our friends at the Lehigh Valley Health Network, part of Jefferson Health, of course, Alloy 5 Architecture, Brown Daub Family of Dealerships, Hindle Power, Tito's Handmade Vodka, the BSI Corporate Benefits, Olympus, RMG Insurance, Unity Bank, and all of the wonderful sponsors that help make this Criterium such a wonderful event here in downtown Easton.
Your Easton Criterium presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network Pro Men's Podium here tonight. In third place for the Whoosh NZ Cycling Project, please welcome James Wilson. In second place tonight for Team Caden Cyclery, presented by Waldo Racing, your U.S. National Champion, Lucas Burgoyne. And taking the win, riding for Legion of Los Angeles, let's hear it for Big Jim Brown. Arms up, gentlemen. You won a bike race here today. Congratulations. This is Jim Brown on the top set, Lucas Burgoyne in second, and James Wilson in third here today. gymmers, you get a pair of boxing gloves signed by world champion Larry Holmes and your winner's poster. Let's look at those gloves and that poster. Don't go away too soon, Lucas. Where are you headed off? Arms up one more time for me if you would with those boxing gloves. Congratulations, you guys. Larry Holmes signing those gloves. You can all get up on the top step. I made it really big for you. And our champagne ceremony. We'll take those gloves. We'll take that poster. You need some new cleats. Watch out, media team. These boys know what to do. Big Jim Brown, your winner here tonight at the Easton Criterium presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network. Congratulations, gentlemen. Thank you all so much for coming out and hanging out with us here tonight. We greatly appreciate all of your noise and support that you've made for us here this evening. Thanks to the team, the officials, and of course the riders who have made tonight's show so special. My name is Gabe Lloyd. I was joined by Bill Alliston here today. It's been a pleasure, and we hope to see you guys tomorrow at the Tour of Somerville, but certainly back here next year for the 7th edition of the Easton Criterium right here in Easton, Pennsylvania.